Chapter 497 Murphy's Battle. Chen Zhao watched as the herd of underlings hurriedly cleaned the blood and corpses on the ground. Holding his phone, he answered calmly, "Nope." Before they even hung up, he already saw a row of headlights in the distance. Chen Zhao glanced at the unfinished cleanup and frowned. The underlings had just washed the ground, so it was completely wet. There were still some bloodstains around, but they were not obvious. The air was filled with a faint odor of blood. "Go back," Chen Zhao said, waving his hand. The underlings left at once. The place became much more empty. Just then a fleet of cars stopped before Chen Zhao. Mother ran down from one of them. "Chen Zhao, are you fine? Where's Yura?" "Yes. She's playing with her friend in her room," Chen Zhao answered. Mother glanced at the wet ground. "Why is the ground all wet?" "I was cleaning the place." "At night?" Mother asked, stunned. "I was free anyway," Chen Zhao said casually. Many people alighted from the cars. They looked like mercenaries too. A bearded mercenary in camo wear rubbed his nose, strolled around and looked at the lake. "Such a strong smell of gunpowder. I think I smell blood," he said. "Many people died here, right? I was having a party just now. I had some fireworks and I killed a few cows," Chen Zhao said. Mother also looked suspicious. She did not believe that nothing had happened. "Then what's with the 4 overturned boats in the lake?" Mother questioned. "My friends were too drunk. They sailed the speedboats in their madness and were overturned by a rock." To be honest, both Mother and the mercenaries smelled something fishy. Seemed like something had happened here. There was no obvious sign of battle. But there were still traces of battle. The west wind from the lake brought the faint smell of saltpeter and blood. There had probably been a battle not long ago. But why could they not discover anything? The only way for Chen Zhao to finish the cleanup in such a short time was to have an enormous team behind him. Mother thought that Chen Zhao might be a mercenary too. Or maybe even the leader. In that case, everything would make sense. Back then in Yura's house, Chen Zhao had killed so many mercenaries by himself. Today, he made dozens disappear in an extremely short period of time. Furthermore, Mother believed an illegal doctor would not earn so much money. It was therefore obvious that Chen Zhao had a mercenary team behind him. She did not know where the team was hiding. After the battle, they must have immediately cleaned the battlefield. Mother did not plan to dig deeper. After all, although Chen Zhao was her son, they were not that close. Since Chen Zhao was not going to tell her, she would not ask. Just then 2 more cars appeared outside. In one car was Fei Lai as well as 4. The other car was following them from afar. Gaia was in it. When Fei Lai alighted, she saw the crowd before the mansion. "Chen, what happened?" "Fei Lai, come here. This is my mother." "Mother, this is Fei Lai, my girlfriend." "Hello, madam." "Hi." Fei Lai had heard from 4 that Chen Zhao had asked for to fetch Fei Lai to her house. Fei Lai knew that Chen Zhao would not have done this unless something special was happening. Worried, she returned in the middle of the night. She did not expect to see Chen Zhao's mother here. Anyway, they seemed to have a strange relationship. Fei Lai thought as she looked at the two. Suddenly Fei Lai had an idea. Did Chen Zhao not want her to see his mother because their relationship was really bad? Sometimes women really tend to overthink. "Let me go and call Yura." "No need. Let her rest," Mother said. "I'll come again next time." Mother turned to look at Fei Lai. "Fei Lai, it's very nice to meet you. See you." "See you." Fei Lai hugged with Mother. Then Mother returned to her car and the fleet left. Chen Zhao widened his eyes at 4, who looked away. Just then Gaia's car also stopped before them. "Hey Chen." Gaia and Chen Zhao exchanged looks. "Gaia, how come you're here? Let me introduce to you. Fei Lai, my girlfriend. This is her sister 4. Chen Zhao held Fei Lai in enthusiasm. "Fei Lai, didn't you always want to know who beat me up last time? She was here during the party a while ago." "Hi, Gaia." Fei Lai could clearly feel the change in Chen Zhao's attitude. Before his mother, Chen Zhao's behavior was full of distance. He seemed indifferent, as if he was talking to an acquaintance. But when he saw Gaia, he became casual again, just like how he always was. "Hello, Gaia. I remember you." Come in and take a seat. Sure. Gaia did not reject the offer. She scanned around her and glanced at Chen Zhao with the corner of her eye. She did not expect Chen Zhao to actually settle everything himself. Moreover, he had done it cleanly, although there were still some traces left. Oh. At the moment, Murphy was being chased by Simon's Lilist. He was no match for Simon's. His only advantage was speed, but its only use was to help him escape. Transform. Suddenly, Harisha cast a spell. Immediately, Murphy turned into a bat, but instead of flying, he fell on the ground. Simon's Lilist stamped at Murphy. Just when Murphy was about to be crushed, countless vines suddenly swept toward Simon's Lilist. Simon's was bound by the vines at once. Elf of Fire, burn the enemy before me. Harisha cast Scorch on Simon's, which incinerated the vines on him. Simon's easily broke free from the vines, but Murphy also gained precious time. In the blink of an eye, he returned to human form. However, by then, Simon's Lilist's bloody sword was swinging towards him. I'm done for. Suddenly, a shadow enveloped them. Simon's Lilist stopped his attack momentarily. Harisha also lifted her head. An enormous tree had appeared before them. What? Why is there such a huge tree here? Chapter 498. The water isn't safe either. But what made Harisha feel even more incredible was that the huge tree actually lifted a branch and swatted down fiercely at them. Whoosh! Simon's was swept away directly. Harisha gaped at the tree. Her expression was one of disbelief. What kind of magic was this? She knew some natural spells such as tendril, but she'd never seen or even heard of a natural spell that could control such a huge tree. Fire of. Harisha immediately cast a spell to attack this huge tree. But the next moment, Harisha was pulled down by the vine. Hurry and leave. This is a forest shepherd. We're in his territory. We can't defeat him. Simon's, who'd been proud the entire time, actually surrendered and turned to run. Harisha broke free from the vines and also sprinted away behind Simon's. Thankfully, the forest shepherd thing didn't pursue them. Harisha and Simon's fled out of the forest before having a chance to catch their breaths. Simon's, what exactly just happened? Or is that a spell? That's a forest shepherd. What's that? A magical creature. They aren't very strong, but when they're in a forest, they can control all the plants there. It's like having an army under their control. How come I've never heard of them before? I didn't even know that there are forest shepherds in the human world. He's definitely more than 1,000 years old. He would never stay in such a small forest. There's only one possibility. Someone is controlling him. Simon's was speaking very seriously. I told you early on not to approach this place. The owner is dangerous. Harisha still wasn't willing to give up. It's okay. We can switch directions and go from another way. I know there's a large lake on the other side. The forest shepherd can't control the seaweed, right? Crazy, you crazy woman. Simon's wanted to cry but had no tears. He didn't want to do this anymore. He wanted to escape, but he couldn't fight back. This crazy woman was on a suicide mission. He tried dissuading her along the way, but Harisha was determined. She didn't even react to Simon's advice. Finally, they reached the mouth of Mirror Lake. The water is so deep. How am I getting across? How are you getting across? Then Harisha took off her clothes. She was actually wearing a swimsuit underneath. Right then, Simon's widened his eyes and gaped at her. I'll cast flotation for you. Swim over. Okay. It wasn't clear if Simon's heard Harisha's words or not. He was just staring at her sexy body. If he could drool, he would definitely be slobbering like a pig now. With the help of flotation, Simon's floated on the water. Just then, something obvious bulged on the water surface. Something is coming, Harisha cried out. Simon's was also shocked. He turned to flee in fright. A demon. That's the subordinate of the seventh king. The king of sloth. Amon. Harisha had once seen Amon when she went to Gaia Island. She knew how big and terrifying Amon was. Whoosh! Amon's tail swept across. Simon's latched onto Harisha and both flew out, landing at the mouth of the lake. Harisha was in a jumbled mess. If Simons hadn't dragged her onto land, she probably would have drowned. "Woman, are you okay?" Harisha threw up some mouthfuls of water and grew more clear-headed. "Did you say that the killer whale is a demon? Not only is it a demon, but it's also the subordinate of the king of sloth. Plus, he isn't a fragmented consciousness on a sword like me. He's in his complete form and has strong subordinate power. But Aman calls a human master. Such a terrifying demon actually listens to a human's orders? Then either that human is terrifyingly powerful or he's not human at all. You have to at least be a demon lord to enslave a demon like that." Simons continued fearfully, "Something must be wrong with your brain. Becoming enemies with someone like that is just suicide." "Fuck. How did I know that guy is this scary?" Harisha's mind cleared after soaking in the water. She suddenly calmed down and looked at Simons. "What are you planning now? Wouldn't you be freed if I died?" "I'm a professional demon. Since I'm your servant, I have to think for you. Can you stand up? How about I hold you?" Simons said seriously. "Go away, don't touch me, you pervert." "Hey, I promise I won't do anything other than hold you. Don't leave. Your leg seems to have a scrape. Do you want me to help rub your chest?" "Oh, Master, the woman brought people over there. How's the situation now?" "I don't know." "Call them and ask." "Master, the call. The call won't go through." "Won't go through? No signal?" "It's not that they don't have a signal. It's our manor. Our manor's signal has been blocked." "What do you mean?" Pinout asked, confused. Just then a gunshot sounded outside. There was only one sound. Then silence ensued. A while later footsteps sounded. There were densely packed footsteps as if many people were coming over here. "What's going on outside?" Pinout asked. "Who fired?" Click, click, click. The bright sound of high heels sounded in the spacious mansion. That sound was like a heavy hammer hitting Pinout's heart. Pinout saw that the woman had come, the woman he hated the most. "What are you here for?" "To take your life." Chan Zhao's mother had a dozen mercenaries with weapons behind her. Pinout's eyes narrowed. Since there were a dozen men before him, then there must be even more in and outside of the manor. This meant that his manor was already under her control. "You want to turn on our promise? Do you think killing me can end this all? I'm not the only member of the Dark family. It's you who turned on the agreement first. You sent someone to kill Yura. It's your son who killed Howard. You bitch." "But why was Howard killed by my son? Did you think about that? You dare kill me? The Darks won't forgive you." Chan Zhao's mother lowered herself. Pressing her mouth by Pinout's ear, she whispered, "I won't forgive the Darks either." Chapter 499. Why does a killer need the human touch? That night, Fur could finally sleep in peace. Chan Zhao and Fei Lai's new house had excellent soundproof materials. It was probably the thing that Fur was most satisfied with in the house. In the morning, everyone went downstairs for breakfast one after another. Fei Lai and Fur were sitting in the living room, while Yura and Cheryl were already playing in the lake. They were not scared of the cold at all. "Fei Lai, who's that girl?" Fur asked. "Which one?" "I know one of them is Cheryl. I saw her at the party that night. I mean the other pale-looking girl." "Oh, she's Chen's younger sister," Fei Lai said. "Do you still want milk?" "No thanks." Fur looked at Yura. "She's ill." "Yes." "Isn't Chen going to treat her?" "Not yet. He said he has to do some research first." "I didn't even know there's a patient he can't heal immediately." After all, Fur was an oncologist. She could tell at once what disease Yura had. Leukemia, or blood cancer, was the most dangerous and fatal disease in the world. Read more chapter on VIP novel. Its death rate was also very high, so it was normal for Chan Zhao to hesitate. "Alright, I need to go. Send me to work," Fur said after finishing the milk. Only then did Chan Zhao come out from his room. He only had time to kiss Fei Lai goodbye. Pierce South was already impatient. He had been too scared to go home for a few days. He had sent his family overseas. However, he had yet to hear from the expensive sorcerer killer that he had hired. Pierce called Harisha again. Madam, are you still on the mission? Fuck off, asshole. Do you know who's the person that you asked me to kill? Harisha was extremely annoyed. My perfect record is destroyed by you. You're paying me $1 million for me to die? Go to hell. No. I hope he can find you. And then you'll die a fucking terrible death. Pierce South was floored. What was happening? Why was she speaking in the exact same tone as Rupert had? Was that Chinese really that scary? Both Rupert and Harisha were famous witches. But they were actually terrified by a wizard. Was the Chinese that powerful? Pierce South could not accept it. Since I cannot kill you with sorcery, I'll kill you in an ordinary way. Pierce decided to find a real killer. Oh. In the West Pacific, there was an island with pleasant weather. Kelly had bought the island with all her savings. Such an island in the Pacific would cost hundreds of thousands to many millions. Kelly's island cost about $2 million. She had already been staying here for half a year. During this period, she almost never left the island. The incident half a year ago had become her nightmare. Her residence was filled with books on religion. At the moment, Kelly was resting on a recliner on the beach. Nobody would disturb her here. She did not have to worry about the nightmare returning. Lying on her face was an ancient text that she had bought from the black market at a high price. The text recorded many legends about demons. In the half year, she had been studying the relationship between religions and demons. It was not for her faith, but to erase the nightmare planted in her. Suddenly, Kelly was awakened by a call. Hello, Kelly said in a lazy tone. Kelly, you've been resting for half a year. Isn't that enough? Come back and help me. It was her former boss, the head of a killer organization. He was the person who had brought her into the profession. I've quit, Kelly said lightly. Killers were actually more or less similar to mercenaries. The difference was that killers would normally act alone, whereas mercenaries would focus on collaborative tactics. Of course, whether it was the killers or the mercenaries, they would not be killed after quitting, unlike in movies. Nobody would want to kill a resigned killer because it was too risky. Just like in many movies, anyone who attempted so might be killed instead. In addition, even if a killer were to quit, it was likely for him or her to return to the profession. After all, many killers only knew how to kill. After they spent all their money, they would have no choice but to return to the organization and continue the high-paying job. If you have nothing else, I'm hanging up. No, wait. I have a super easy mission. It's really easy and pays really high. An easy mission that pays high? Even if there's really such a mission, you would have taken it. Even if you don't, what about the rest? I'm in Africa now and have a very important mission in hand. Our profession is truly in decline. A third of our people became mercenaries. They think that our organization doesn't have the human touch. Fuck. Why does a killer need the human touch? Kelly rolled her eyes. Did you call me just to complain? Stop wasting time. Be direct. Fine, let's continue. The target is an ordinary man. 3 million. Killing a super rich guy only pays a few million. And now you're saying 3 million for a normal person? No, you're taking commission. The client is offering 5 million. It's true, at least from the information I have. Except there's something special. What? Not long ago, 2 mercenary teams, about dozens of people, attacked his house, but they disappeared. What do you mean? I heard about it from a mercenary. I'm not sure what exactly happened. Bad answer. Does that ordinary man have an armed force? Dunno. On the surface, he's only an illegal doctor. He's earning a decent income, but he's not involved in any gangs or the underworld. So in summary, you want me to kill a person who has just vaporized 2 mercenary teams? Do you think I'm mad? Or do you think I'm God? Kelly finally got it. It was not that her boss was busy or that all the killers had quit. Nobody was willing to accept the mission. You're a killer. You just have a shoot him from the dark. Who and where is the person? Chapter 500. I'll give you freedom, stop clinging to me. L.A. A Chinese man. Kelly had a fright. Oh, Chinese man. What's wrong? What's the target's name? Chun Zhao. Hearing this name, Kelly clutched her chest. It's him. It really was him. That nightmare had appeared again. Do you know who wants to kill him? Kelly asked. You should know that we don't ask the client for their identity. Or, the assassin's boss had a fright. Kelly usually accepted missions easily and followed the rules. Unless she knew the target. I suddenly remembered that a newbie in our team is free. I'll go ask him again. Boss, you're in America, right? Kelly suddenly laughed. Kelly, don't be like this. The boss was an assassin, but he was the weakest in the team. Ever since he changed his career to managing assassin teams, he started sailing smoothly. But even as the boss of the group, he was still the lower one before most assassins. Don't be like what? Okay, what do you want? No one is allowed to take that mission. You want it? Or do you know the guy? I know him. An assassin would usually pick and choose the missions. After all, who in the team didn't have relatives and friends? When they got missions, they would purposely avoid those people. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if someone on the team killed their family and friends. But there's no note in the documents. I just met him, all right? Sure. The boss was helpless. It wasn't his fault everyone else was a hotshot. These days, managing assassins was difficult. Kelly looked at the information sent by the boss. There were some hard facts and also some of his guesses. The most eye-catching part was that in one case, a dozen people approached the house and then all disappeared mysteriously. Kelly knew that the man was very mysterious and had terrifying abilities. If it was him, then it wasn't strange that he could do these things. After escaping for so long, she had to face him in the end. Oh, fuck. Harisha kept kicking Simon's butt. Get out of here. I'm giving you freedom. Stop clinging to me. No, I think you're a very good master. I'm willing to give you everything, including my loyalty. Look at my indestructible body. Don't you feel safe? Simons patted his chest. Don't you know that we're out on the street? Can't you see? Just then, a father with a child walked over. Hello. Can my kid take a picture with this cosplayer? Of course, Harisha replied, smiling. Simons lifted the kid up onto his neck, letting the father take a few pictures. Excuse me, what movie or game character is this a cosplay of? Demons beside you. What's that? Never heard of it. Harisha turned to leave in annoyance. Simons continued to follow her. Actually, I can pretend to be someone else too. Master, I plan on following you for life. I don't need that. Harisha yelled loudly. Get the fuck out. No, you need it. Anyway, Simons had decided to cling and never leave Harisha until the end. Suddenly, a voice interrupted Harisha and Simons. Miss Harisha, we meet again. Damn mosquito. Simons hated seeing other men approach Harisha. Along the way, countless maggots had tried to ask for Harisha's number. Turning his head, Simons yelled, Get out of here or else I'll wrench your head off. You're talking to me? Chan Zhao glanced at the metal cosplayer before him. Meow. Are you talking to me, little thing? Samuel, on Chan Zhao's shoulder, glanced at Simons. Instantly, Simons and Harisha freaked out. Such terrifying aura. What was with that shocking oppressiveness? Who was this cat an incarnation of? Harisha had stiffened too. She was very afraid that Chan Zhao was here to take revenge. After all, Murphy had seen her when they fought that day. You know him? Chan Zhao asked curiously after hearing Samuel. A lowly little demon, Samuel answered. He doesn't have any subordinates. Let me think. Oh, I think he's some rare demon. Demon warrior. I killed a few before and then never saw them again. I suddenly remembered that I have something going on. I'm going now. Bye. Harisha grabbed Simons and started running. So scary, Simons kept muttering under his breath. He was scared. He was honestly scared. That cat must be the incarnation of a demon, but which demon exactly? Who could have such a terrifying aura? Simons, you know that man? You've seen him before? No, the little cat on his shoulder, that's a demon. A scary demon. I just glanced at him and felt this terrifying aura wash over me. So scary. That's practically the demon among demons. That man was my previous target. What? That's him? Thank God. Simon shuddered. Thankfully, we gave up without even entering his door. If we'd really broken into his territory, we would have died. Died terribly. Oh, I didn't think Miss Harisha is a witch too. Chun Zhao was surprised too. She doesn't seem weak either. She's enslaved a demon. That's not the case at all, Samuel said in disagreement. That little demon is just imprisoned in that prop, while that prop is controlled by the witch. As for the witch herself, her magic power isn't even 1/3 of yours. Oh, speaking of magic power, I opened another pristine eyeball the other day, but it hasn't done anything special. Can you tell what its function is? There are thousands of pristine eyeballs. How can I know all of them? Just then, the eye on Chun Zhao's wrist suddenly opened. Huh. Closely after, a scene appeared in Chun Zhao's mind. Chapter 501. Planting Grape Seeds. The picture in Chun Zhao's mind was very weird. It was the rooftop of a high-rise building. Someone was lying there. They were hooded so that Chun Zhao could not see their appearance, but the thing in their hands alarmed him. It was a sniper rifle. Chun Zhao suddenly opened his eyes. He realized something. He looked at a tall building in the distance. Master, what's wrong? I saw a strange image. Think it's from the eye. Someone is on that building there, pointing a sniper rifle at me. Oh, it's shadow vision. Samuel thought of something. What's shadow vision? Shadow vision can detect looks of evil intent in places that you cannot see with your own eyes. That's the function of your new eye. Huh, that's really useful. Chun Zhao was very pleased. With shadow vision, he would be much safer. Oh, Kelly put her sniper rifle away. Just now she really wanted to fire, but the blood brand on her arm started to hurt. She knew what the blood brand was for. Whenever she had the intention to kill that person, the blood brand would stop her. Of course, Kelly knew that she would not be able to kill him. Nevertheless, she did not expect that person to discover her from several kilometers away. After some thoughts, Kelly made a call. Hey Chun. Who are you? You sound familiar, Chun Zhao said on the other side of the line. Chun, you already saw me. Why do you have to pretend? So why did you call me? Chun Zhao did not understand what the lady meant. He saw her. Wait, he saw her. Was she the one who had pointed her sniper rifle at him? From the voice, Chun Zhao suddenly recalled a woman. A woman who had killed him. That time Chun Zhao had just arrived in America. That time he was still an honest man. She was Kelly, that female killer. How about a deal? What deal? Someone wants you dead. The person found my organization, and I'm on the mission. Are you going to tell me that you won't kill me, and I should reward you? I'm not that naive. I know that I can't kill you. Chun Zhao had just discovered Kelly from many kilometers away. How was it possible to kill such a person? Even without the blood brand, Kelly did not think that she could threaten him at all. So what's the deal? I'll tell you who's the person who wants you dead, and you'll remove the blood brand. How do I know that you're not lying? Chun Zhao did not trust the female killer at all. After all, Kelly had once managed to truly kill him. I can tell you who the person is first. If you think I'm not lying, then remove the blood brand for me. Sure. After thinking, Chun Zhao accepted the deal. His name is Pierce South. Wait, I know him and he's an enemy of mine. I know all along that he wants me dead. Chun Zhao interrupted Kelly. If that's all you can tell me, I think you can forget about the deal. Kelly was stunned. Seemed like she was still too naive. How about I help you find him? Kelly asked. Can you? Chun Zhao's eyes brightened. If Kelly could really find Pierce South for him, Chun Zhao would be happy to accept the deal. I'll try my best. Fine. If you can find him, I'll dismiss your blood brand. Chun Zhao was extremely bothered by Pierce South. He was literally a mouse. Chun Zhao could not locate him, but he kept harassing him. It was really irritating. Every time Chun Zhao heard that name, he would swear that he must kill that guy. Oh. In the evening, Fei Lai returned home and threw a bag on the table. Chun Zhao picked it up to take a look. It contained many seeds of something. Fei Lai, what's this for? Robio gave them to me. He said that our home is a great place to grow grapes and make red wine. Chen Zhao patted his forehead. Fei Lai, can't you just admit that you want to grow grapes and make wine yourself? Why do you have to push it to someone else? Anyway, Chen Zhao did not expose Fei Lai. Since Fei Lai wanted it, he did not mind. I'll ask the underlings to plant them. Chen, don't you think that it'll be more meaningful if we do it ourselves? Fei Lai stared at Chen Zhao with a serious face. After the grapes are ready, we'll make the wine and share it with our friends. What do you think? All right. That's thoughtful. Chen Zhao pulled Fei Lai and kissed her forehead. Oh. He was only worried that Fei Lai's enthusiasm was short-lived. After the initial fun was over, she might ask the underlings to do the rest. Yura, Cheryl, let's go and plant some grapes together. Plant grapes? No, I want to keep playing, Yura subconsciously rejected. Very soon, however, she noticed Chen Zhao's threatening look. 2 days ago, she had been grounded for a day just because she had talked back to Chen Zhao. Hence, she swallowed the rest of the sentence. With a forced smile, she replied, sure. The group picked a stretch of land. It was about 100 meters away from the house. There were no trees here and sunlight was excellent, but there was some wild grass. What do we do first? Fei Lai asked. In fact, she was actually being impetuous. She had no plans at all. Remove the grass, of course, Cheryl said. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. With Eugenics around, this was absolutely unnecessary. No need. Wild grass doesn't grow here, Chen Zhao said. Then what's that over there? Ignore those. Loosen the soil first, Chen Zhao said, waving his hand. The four began the task. Actually, the soil was already very loose, because silt had been dug from Mirror Lake and spread here. At least the surface was very soft. Therefore, they easily readied a large area for planting the grapes. With Chen Zhao's strength, it was not even considered as labor. As Cheryl and Yura loosed the soil, they started playing again. It was characteristic of children of their age. There was no way they were going to focus on any physical work. Yura, look. Cheryl transformed into a 1.8-meter tall werewolf. Then she stuck her claws into the soil and ran forward. Comment. Comment FIRS to rate this chapter. Vote with Power Stone. Chapter 502. Blackie can upgrade too. The group didn't go back inside until nighttime. Chen Zhao didn't have Cheryl and Yura jump into the lake to bathe. If he had them go into the lake, they would probably play until morning. After having them get clean in the pool, they went back to wash up in the house. They had a pool at home, but Chen Zhao and Fei Lai didn't use it often. If they wanted to play with water, they would usually go into the lake. They liked the feeling of the lake. The pool was mostly used for the pets to play in. Of course, they would change the water every day too. But when Yura and Cheryl came back, Cheryl was supporting Yura. Chen Zhao furrowed his brows and pulled Yura to the side. Yura, what's wrong? Nothing, just a little tired. Chen Zhao took out his stethoscope to check Yura's body. The potion that Chen Zhao had given last time improved her immunity. However, Yura was still too weak and still easily sick. If she got sick, it would be very dangerous for her. Chen Zhao didn't want to restrict Yura and tell her she couldn't do this or that. If possible, he wanted Yura to grow up happily, instead of being like a caged bird, watching others play while she could only sit to the side quietly. But this way it was also more dangerous. Yura had a low fever, but because of her special body, she couldn't even take antibiotics. Right then, Blackie appeared beside Chen Zhao. I can sense her death. Chen Zhao's expression darkened. He wasn't mad at Blackie. Whether Blackie existed or not, it all meant that Yura's health had worsened again. This time it even affected her life. This also meant that Chen Zhao had no time to waste time while researching. He remembered that his mother had invited him to America back then to make him donate his bone marrow. This meant that his bone marrow matched Yura's. Usually, the match between siblings was the highest. Of course, Chen Zhao and Yura were only half-siblings. Donating bone marrow sounded scary, but it wasn't as bad as one imagined. Plus, there were safer ways to donate now. Donating bone marrow was actually for the hematopoietic stem cells in the marrow. People's hematopoietic stem cells were all created through mitosis, producing more and more. After extracting the bone marrow, the hematopoietic stem cells technically should split quickly, making up for the lower number. In the past, donating bone marrow had a certain ratio. Though it was relatively safe, there were still certain risks. Now, doctors used blood cultivation methods. One only needed to extract a tiny bit of hematopoietic stem cells from the bone marrow and cultivate it in the blood. The danger for the donor was lowered to the max. It was basically like donating blood. This was also called peripheral blood stem cell transplantation. Cheryl, go rest, Chunjiao said. Fei Lai, sleep with Cheryl tonight. Okay. Fei Lai looked at Chunjiao's solemn expression and nodded. Chunjiao carried Yura to the basement. Blackie, help me. Chunjiao didn't have the conditions for cultivation, so he could only do a direct bone marrow transplant. This surgery would mostly be on Chunjiao too. As the recipient, Yura only had to passively accept the blood transfusion, so there weren't many problems. The main problem was still on Chunjiao. He had to find someone who could help transplant the bone marrow. Thus, he needed Blackie to extract it for him. The entire transplantation process had to be done in the space crevice too. Chunjiao, open a hole on your back first. I'll use life extraction to extract your bone marrow. Okay. Chunjiao sprawled on the cold metal bed and stabbed his back with difficulty. Yura was laying on the bed beside him. Is the hole big enough? Yes, it's okay. Blackie started casting a spell. He extracted blood first. Then Chunjiao felt stabbing pain. White material mixed in blood gathered in Blackie's palms. It should be enough, Chunjiao said. Blackie softly pushed the liquid in his palms to Yura. The liquid started seeping in Yura's body. Just then, a black line appeared on Blackie's back. This black line was like the Dharma chakra from Buddhism. Chunjiao looked at Blackie in shock. Blackie didn't seem to sense it. He was still attentively casting the spell. Finally, the bone marrow melded completely into Yura's body. Blackie finally stopped. Now he discovered his own changes. Huh. Blackie, what happened? It feels strange. I got stronger. Why? I think it's because I saved your sister. A soulbringer saved someone and got rewarded? Chunjiao looked at him with strange eyes. No, I saved someone who was destined to die. Blackie reached up and pulled down his hood. He revealed a face like Chunjiao's. Fuck, why do you look like me? I can be anyone. Appearances mean nothing to me. Blackie changed to Fei Lai's face. Stop. You're not allowed to turn into Fei Lai. Fine. Blackie put the hood back on. Can the halo on your back disappear? It looks weird. I can't. That's the representation of my abilities. It's just an extra halo. What significance does it have? I'm no longer a soulbringer. I'm a deathbringer now. Okay, that title sounds pretty scary. What other changes do you have now? I can appear before people. Okay, sounds pretty scary. What else? Like, can you kill someone for me? No. If I kill, I'll still be punished. So, still not that useful. Actually, Blackie's biggest use was still against evil spirits. He was the most intimidating to evil spirits than Chunjiao's other demon servants. Even Samuel couldn't compare to Blackie. However, with Blackie's attitude, he didn't seem that excited about his upgrade either. Later, Chunjiao carried Yura out of the space crevice. She seemed to have woken up in a daze. But she still wasn't very clear-headed. She didn't wake up until the light in the room shone down. Brother, I think I saw heaven. Why do you think that? It was such a big castle. It must be heaven's castle. If you say so. It wasn't like Chunjiao could say that wasn't heaven. That was the Grim Reaper's lair. Chapter 502. Blackie can upgrade too. Comment. The group didn't go back inside until nighttime. Chunjiao didn't have Cheryl and Yura jump into the lake to bathe. If he had them go into the lake, they would probably play until morning. After having them get clean in the pool, they went back to wash up in the house. They had a pool at home, but Chunjiao and Fei Lai didn't use it often. If they wanted to play with water, they would usually go into the lake. They liked the feeling of the lake. The pool was mostly used for the pets to play in. Of course, they would change the water every day too. But when Yura and Cheryl came back, Cheryl was supporting Yura. Chanjiao furrowed his brows and pulled Yura to the side. Yura, what's wrong? Nothing, just a little tired. Chanjiao took out his stethoscope to check Yura's body. The potion that Chanjiao had given last time improved her immunity. However, Yura was still too weak and still easily sick. If she got sick, it would be very dangerous for her. Chanjiao didn't want to restrict Yura and tell her she couldn't do this or that. If possible, he wanted Yura to grow up happily, instead of being like a caged bird, watching others play while she could only sit to the side quietly. But this way it was also more dangerous. Yura had a low fever, but because of her special body, she couldn't even take antibiotics. Right then, Blackie appeared beside Chanjiao. I can sense her death. Chanjiao's expression darkened. He wasn't mad at Blackie. Whether Blackie existed or not, it all meant that Yura's health had worsened again. This time it even affected her life. This also meant that Chanjiao had no time to waste time while researching. He remembered that his mother had invited him to America back then to make him donate his bone marrow. This meant that his bone marrow matched Yura's. Usually, the match between siblings was the highest. Of course, Chanjiao and Yura were only half-siblings. Donating bone marrow sounded scary, but it wasn't as bad as one imagined. Plus, there were safer ways to donate now. Donating bone marrow was actually for the hematopoietic stem cells in the marrow. People's hematopoietic stem cells were all created through mitosis, producing more and more. After extracting the bone marrow, the hematopoietic stem cells technically should split quickly, making up for the lower number. In the past, donating bone marrow had a certain ratio. Though it was relatively safe, there were still certain risks. Now, doctors use blood cultivation methods. One only needed to extract a tiny bit of hematopoietic stem cells from the bone marrow and cultivate it in the blood. The danger for the donor was lowered to the max. It was basically like donating blood. This was also called peripheral blood stem cell transplantation. Cheryl, go rest, Chanjiao said. Feilai, sleep with Cheryl tonight. Okay. Feilai looked at Chanjiao's solemn expression and nodded. Chanjiao carried Yura to the basement. Blackie, help me. Chanjiao didn't have the conditions for cultivation, so he could only do a direct bone marrow transplant. This surgery would mostly be on Chanjiao too. As the recipient, Yura only had to passively accept the blood transfusion, so there weren't many problems. The main problem was still on Chanjiao. He had to find someone who could help transplant the bone marrow. Thus, he needed Blackie to extract it for him. The entire transplantation process had to be done in the space crevice too. Chanjiao, open a hole on your back first. I'll use life extraction to extract your bone marrow. Okay. Chanjiao sprawled on the cold metal bed and stabbed his back with difficulty. Yura was laying on the bed beside him. Is the hole big enough? Yes, it's okay. Blackie started casting a spell. He extracted blood first. Then Chanjiao felt stabbing pain. White material mixed in blood gathered in Blackie's palms. It should be enough, Chanjiao said. Blackie softly pushed the liquid in his palms to Yura. The liquid started seeping in Yura's body. Just then, a black line appeared on Blackie's back. This black line was like the Dharma chakra from Buddhism. Chanjiao looked at Blackie in shock. Blackie didn't seem to sense it. He was still attentively casting the spell. Finally, the bone marrow melded completely into Yura's body. Blackie finally stopped. Now he discovered his own changes. Huh. Blackie, what happened? It feels strange. I got stronger. Why? I think it's because I saved your sister. A soulbringer saved someone and got rewarded? Chanjiao looked at him with strange eyes. No, I saved someone who was destined to die. Blackie reached up and pulled down his hood. He revealed a face like Chanjiao's. Fuck, why do you look like me? I can be anyone. Appearances mean nothing to me. Blackie changed to Feilai's face. Stop. You're not allowed to turn into Feilai. Fine. Blackie put the hood back on. Can the halo on your back disappear? It looks weird. I can't. That's the representation of my abilities. It's just an extra halo. What significance does it have? I'm no longer a soulbringer. I'm a Deathbringer now. Okay, that title sounds pretty scary. What other changes do you have now? I can appear before people. Okay, sounds pretty scary. What else? Like, can you kill someone for me? No. If I kill, I'll still be punished. So, still not that useful. Actually, Blackie's biggest use was still against evil spirits. He was the most intimidating to evil spirits than Chan Zhao's other demon servants. Even Samuel couldn't compare to Blackie. However, with Blackie's attitude, he didn't seem that excited about his upgrade either. Later, Chan Zhao carried Yura out of the space crevice. She seemed to have woken up in a daze. But she still wasn't very clear-headed. She didn't wake up until the light in the room shone down. Brother, I think I saw heaven. Why do you think that? It was such a big castle. It must be heaven's castle. If you say so. It wasn't like Chan Zhao could say that wasn't heaven. That was the Grim Reaper's lair. Chapter 503. Supernatural Security Team. Hematopoietic stem cells would not take effect immediately. Time was needed. Therefore, Yura was still very weak the next day. Nevertheless, her color was returning, and it was obvious. Of course, Yura could not feel it herself. She still felt weak. As the hematopoietic stem cells continued to split, she would become healthier and healthier. To prevent any rejection, Chan Zhao monitored Yura's condition closely. In the next 2 days, he rarely left the house. Today, she could already leave the bed and walk by herself. Chan Zhao asked her to take a stroll in the courtyard to get some sunlight. However, he did not allow her to play in the lake lest she catch a cold. Chan Zhao would only allow that after she recovered completely. Cheryl accompanied Yura and did not swim too. Today, Tiger and Gaia came together. Mr. Chun. Tiger's color was amazing and he looked very energetic. Recently, he had been trained by Gaia. Moreover, he had also been unknowingly nourished by the strength potion. He could clearly feel that he had become significantly fitter. Chan Zhao patted Tiger's shoulder. You look great. All thanks to you. Tiger had learned from his past mistakes. Now everything good was Chan Zhao's credit. Everything bad was his own mistake. Chun, there's going to be a competition soon. Tiger would like to sign up. What do you think? Gaia asked. What competition? State BBL 32 states are participating. But there's a selection round in California. You need to pass the selection before you can go to the actual BBL. It's 3 months long and contains 10 matches, from the selection to the BBL match. That's a tight schedule. Chan Zhao was somewhat surprised. Usually, the first few matches will not be difficult. I believe that Tiger can defeat them without difficulty. But I'm not sure if he can qualify for the actual BBL. That's considered a professional competition. Go for it. You have my full support. Tiger was definitely no weaker than Zanla Douglas now. Therefore, Chan Zhao was confident that Tiger could obtain a high ranking. Tiger was also delighted to receive Chan Zhao's approval. Recently, he had been practicing diligently. He could clearly feel his improvement, but he was unsure how strong he was at the moment. What he really needed was a competition to test himself. Just then a car drove in from the outside. It was Hill Nance. Chan Zhao did not expect him to come here. Mr. Hill. Mr. Chun, hello. It's not easy to find your house. Hill Nance had spent much effort to locate this place. He glanced at Tiger and Gaia. Did I disturb you? No, sir. We're about to leave anyway, Gaia said. Chun, we're leaving. Sure. See you. Hill Nance inspected the mansion. Chan Zhao stared at him, his face darkening. Old man, just tell me what you need. Mr. Hill, why are you here? Oh, did Dr. Wright tell you that there will be a medical seminar in New York? Oh yeah. What date is it today? Chan Zhao just recalled it. 18. So it's the day after tomorrow. Yes, Hill Nance nodded. I'm here to give you your air ticket. Chan Zhao patted his head. He must not leave Yura at home. After all, Yura was still under observation. He also had to bring Cheryl to accompany Yura. Last time he had asked Feilai, but she had rejected. After all, she had just gone on a 7-day leave a month ago. There was no way Robio would approve her leave now. Hence Chanzhao still had to buy 2 more air tickets. After sending Hil Nans out, Chanzhao called his mother. "Mom, it's me, Chanzhao." "Yes. I'm going to New York in 2 days. I would like to bring Yura with me." "Okay. But please protect her." "Got it." After hanging up the call, Chanzhao called Sienna. "Sienna, I'm going to New York in 2 days. I'll be bringing Cheryl with me." "What? I'm jealous. I've never been to New York." "You can come with us." "No, I can't leave. That asshole, Movich Tudis, actually established a supernatural security team, and then I became the leader." Supernatural security team? For what?" "He said that I won't be able to complete all the tasks alone, so he got me some helpers." "That's great. It's a promotion, right?" "Fuck no, all of them are fraudsters. None of them is an actual spiritualist. Someone even calls himself a supernatural lover. God, I'm going insane. I think that's not too bad. Those people will be a foil for your worth." "Fine, I take it that it's a compliment. How long will y'all be away?" 3 days, at least I have work for 3 days, but if they want to play in New York, we might stay for another day. I'm actually jealous that someone is bringing her out to play. I want to go to New York too," Sienna complained again. 1212. I think I heard Chris' voice. "What's she doing?" "Training those assholes." "Chris? Training them? Are you sure?" "Training them how to escape and hide before evil spirits. She's much more professional than me in those areas." "Oh." After hanging up the call with Sienna, Chanzhao went to the backyard. He checked on the grape seeds. In fact, after planting them the other night, he had asked the underlings to fertilize them again. Then, he had asked Eugenius to take care of the seeds, which were now germinating. Sprouts were slowly emerging from the soil. After that night, Feilai seemed to have forgotten about all this already. Chanzhao really suspected that she had used all her enthusiasm. Actually, the grapevines that most sellers used were not grown from seeds, but rather taken from well-known wineries and planted. The grapevines in those wineries had been cultivated for many generations, so their wine had unique tastes which could not be found elsewhere. Thus, Chanzhao did not think that their grapes and wine would be great. Of course, to both Chanzhao and Feilai, it was only for fun. Chapter 504. Sorry, I'm an actor. The Dark's matter had ended for now, and Chanzhao's mother also called him, telling him not to worry about their revenge. However, Chanzhao still left his pets at home and had Feilai bring them with her to work. With the pets beside Feilai, he could rest assured. The night before going to New York, Chanzhao embraced Feilai. "Feilai, are you really not going to New York? I told you many times. I can't leave." "Fine." Chanzhao was powerless. "Take care of the grapes in the yard. Don't let them die without you even realizing." "Am I that careless in your eyes?" "Of course not. Let's go to sleep now." "Sleep? Where are you putting your hands?" The next day, Chanzhao stretched in bed. A head suddenly appeared on the wall. Chanzhao raised his foot to kick the head, but he only met air. "Blackie, how many times did I tell you to not appear like this?" "I forgot. I'll be careful next time." Chanzhao was taken aback. This was Blackie's first time apologizing to him. Then Blackie's entire body came out of the wall. Chanzhao looked at him, expression darkening. "Can you explain? Why do you have a backpack?" Could you imagine a Grim Reaper carrying a backpack? Anyway, it was shocking to Chanzhao. Very shocking, not just the usual type of shocking. The entire image had changed. "I want to go to New York," Blackie said. "Go if you want, but why do you have to bring a backpack?" "It's my first true journey after becoming a Deathbringer. I want a hotel room too." "You want a hotel room too? I can touch tangible bodies now. I have feelings too now." Chanzhao rubbed his forehead. "You've seen the movie Final Destination, right?" "Yes." "You're sure you won't come out of thin air, right?" Okay, Chanzhao and Blackie were very familiar now. But this didn't change Blackie's identity. He was a true Grim Reaper. Boarding a plane with a Grim Reaper still stressed Chan Zhao out. Even though his physical body was pretty awesome now and he could probably go against a small car, he probably couldn't take the pressure and speed if something happened in the air. A plane's regular altitude was 10,000 meters. If something really happened up there, he would probably keel over too. I don't kill. Blackie was wearing a hood, but Chan Zhao could still feel him roll his eyes. Good. After getting up and washing, Chan Zhao asked Cheryl and Yura. They were very excited to go play in New York. The two dragged large suitcases. It seemed like they'd packed many things. Did you bring everything? Yup. Okay, let's go. New York, I'm coming, Blackie said. Brother, how come you suddenly look unhappy? No, I'm not unhappy. At the airport, he left the car in the parking lot. After reaching the lobby, Hill's Nans found Chan Zhao. Mr. Chan, who are they? Cheryl and my sister Yura. Hello, ladies. I am Mr. Chen's assistant. Of course, saying he was an assistant was purely favoring Chan Zhao. Hill's Nans was a professor. Even though he'd come to act as the TA to learn, UCLA wouldn't let him actually be a TA. His title was still professor. After they boarded, Hills waved enthusiastically. Mr. Chan, here. Our seats are here. Sorry, my seat isn't there. Chan Zhao had changed his ticket from economy to first class. It was too hard to sit in economy for 3 hours. Thus, he was willing to spend more money on upgrading. Yura and Cheryl naturally moved to first class too. Hills was frustrated. He'd planned everything already. During the few hours on the plane, he could communicate and learn from Chan Zhao freely. But he didn't expect that Chan Zhao would actually upgrade. Hills had money, but he couldn't upgrade after boarding already. He could only sit in his seat alone in frustration. After some short turbulence, the plane started rising slowly. Chan Zhao hated riding the plane, even only for 3 hours. Even though planes were the safest type of modern transportation, each plane crash had close to a 100% death rate. Chan Zhao was like most people, having an odd sense of fear toward flying. Of course, he was also on the same flight as a Grim Reaper. More importantly, the Grim Reaper was now across from Chan Zhao, glaring at him. Why aren't you happy? Tell me. Blackie ignored him. Chan Zhao's face darkened. Are you going to tell me? If you don't, I'm sleeping. Remember to wake me up when we land. Why didn't you buy me a ticket? Chan Zhao buried his face in his hands. You didn't say you're coming. I didn't even know you're coming. How could I buy you a ticket? Plus, there are empty seats. You can sit there. No, that doesn't belong to me. I want my own seat. I want first-class service. Chan Zhao missed Blackie from before the upgrade. Back then, Blackie had no desires. Now he was like a little kid with all sorts of tempers. I'll buy you a ticket when we come back, all right? That sounds better. The woman beside Chan Zhao was in her 30s. She wore glasses and looked like a strong, independent woman. Sir, this is my card. Maybe you'll find it useful. Chan Zhao accepted the card. Margaret Cook, psychologist, Ella, Fedele Therapy Center. Chan Zhao forgot that someone was sitting next to him while he spoke to Blackie. Chan Zhao didn't know how to react. Sorry, I'm an actor. I was practicing my lines. It made sense to Margaret. She'd thought that Chan Zhao was crazy and talking to an imaginary person. Brother, aren't you a doctor? Yura asked from the aisle seat. Shut up. Chan Zhao glared at Yura and then turned back to Margaret. Everyone in LA has an actor dream. I'm an extra in director Steven's new movie. Really, Steven's new movie? I really like his work. What's his new movie? Sorry, I signed an NDA. I can't say. Chapter 505. Final Destination. Margaret inspected Chan Zhao curiously. Which hospital are you working in? I'm a medical professor in UCLA. Chan Zhao had to admit that it was really a great identity. In the past, when someone asked about his job, he had to be ambiguous or admit that he was an illegal doctor after consideration. Suddenly, Blackie spoke. I think there's something I forgot to tell you. Chan Zhao glanced at him and replied with his brainwaves. Stop disturbing me. She's a psychologist. I don't want her to know that I'm mentally ill. No, I don't want her to think that I'm mentally ill. It's important. You seem to be bothered. Margaret noticed Chen Zhao's abnormal glance. Ha! I'm fine. Smiling, Margaret stared at Chen Zhao. I had a patient with a delusional disorder. He always feels as if his wife is still alive, still beside him and talking to him, but he knows that it's impossible. Rationality and hallucinations keep troubling him. Most of the time, he would deliberately ignore the hallucinations so that he can look normal before other people. Very clearly, Margaret was certain that Chen Zhao was experiencing similar symptoms as her former patient. She was sure that Chen Zhao also had a delusional disorder. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. Fine. Chen Zhao shrugged helplessly. Now are you free to listen to me? Blackie asked. Nope. Because of you, she thinks that I have a delusional disorder. You sure? Just leave me alone for a while. Fine. Blackie floated away. Chen Zhao saw Blackie enter the cabin. Soon, a flight attendant screamed and bolted out from the restroom. The chief purser walked over and helped the fallen attendant up. What happened? Calm down and tell me what happened. I saw the Grim Reaper. Have you not had enough sleep? It's a hallucination. The chief purser clearly did not believe the attendant. Milan, I'm serious. Will the plane be all right? I heard that. The Grim Reaper will appear before a plane accident. Oh. With a dark look, Chen Zhao stared at Blackie, who was floating out from the restroom. What have you done? I appeared before her, or rather in the mirror. Why would you do that? I just wanted to inform her that the plane will crash. Chen Zhao would have sprung up from his seat if he did not have the seat belt on. What? Why didn't you tell me earlier? You didn't want to listen. I could only talk to another person. When will it happen? An hour later. What exactly will happen? I don't know. I only see a damaged cabin and a few people flying out. Chen Zhao looked at Yura and Cheryl. What should he do? He could not stop the plane from malfunctioning. Obviously, he could not just run into the cockpit, tell the pilots that the plane would crash, and ask them to land at the nearby airport. However, if he were to do nothing, the plane would probably crash. None of them would survive. Should he hijack the plane? Stop joking. After September 11th, whenever there was a hijacking, the American government would send fighter planes to destroy the plane before it could reach any city. There was no way Chen Zhao could successfully hijack the plane. It would only kill him quicker. How? Blackie, why don't you talk to the pilots? Chen Zhao was also helpless. It was the last resort. Chen Zhao clearly could not convince the crew. Asking Blackie to appear before them was the best option. Fine. I'll have a nice chat with them. Then, Blackie floated into the cockpit. Chen Zhao waited for a while but did not see Blackie return. Oh, Jarls, after we reach New York. Where do you want to go? Champaign Avenue, of course. What? You want to go too? I'm wearing a wedding ring. No woman would date a married man. You can temporarily take your ring off. Look, I've taken mine off. Riley, do you know that in my hometown in Kansas, there's such a rumor? Taking the wedding ring off within marriage is betrayal, and offenders will be punished by God. Please, I'm an atheist. You can ask Eddie if he believes it. Please don't ask a singleton such a philosophical question, Eddie said, smiling. In the cockpit, Jarls was the captain, while Riley and Eddie were co-pilots. All three were known for being playboys. As pilots, they had a great advantage in hooking up women. Piloting was an out-and-out high-income and honorable job. When the three gathered together, they mostly talked about women and alcohol. Suddenly, a shadow flashed across the mirror above the seats. Riley, who was sitting in the second row, saw that shadow. He rubbed his eyes. Jarls glanced at him. What? You got sore eyes? No, nothing. Maybe it's just the light. Because they were in the troposphere, they would receive much more sunlight than people on the surface. Sometimes, pilots might develop eye diseases due to direct exposure to strong sunlight. I'm death. Jarls almost jumped off his seat. Luckily, the plane was on autopilot or his action would have crashed the plane at once. Jarls, what are you doing? You know the rules. You can't just move around like that. I had an auditory hallucination. No, it's not a hallucination. Jarls heard the voice beside his ears again. I'm Death. Jarls, what are you doing? He was scared by my voice. Ah, Riley screamed as well. Riley, what's wrong? I heard a voice. You heard it too. You too. The voice said that he's Death. I saw the Grim Reaper just now. Do you believe me? Eddie swallowed some saliva. He appeared in the rearview mirror. The three looked very unnatural, even terrified. Just then, a figure appeared in the mirror again. This time it did not disappear. It was just in the mirror. Blackie actively appeared before other people for the first time. Do you need me to tell you who I am again? The Grim Reaper. The three peed their pants. The Grim Reaper was actually right before them. Chapter 506 Bomb. Yes, I am the Grim Reaper that you know of. Grim Reaper. Why did you appear before us? Are we going to die? Yes, you're about to die. Eddie fainted directly. Riley and Jarls weren't any better. They stared at the Grim Reaper in the rearview mirror in terror. There is someone who is about to die on this plane. He should have died 30 minutes later, but he's on this plane now, so I will make his plane crash. 30 minutes? Jarls suddenly grew spirited. You mean we still have 30 minutes? Did I say that? Blackie faded slowly. Oh, passengers, this is a message from the captain. Due to a mechanical failure of the plane, we are forced to land at the Washington airport. We apologize for the inconvenience. Chun Zhao was surprised. Did Blackie really take care of it? Blackie, good job. He couldn't help talking to Blackie again. Usually, a plane couldn't change its tracks unless it was an emergency. Especially in a country with extreme sensitivity to air control like America, a plane could be bombed if it strayed from its path without a definite reason. Thus, Chun Zhao could imagine that the captain had made up a mechanical failure. He first fooled the aviation authority. As long as they gave permission, the nearest airport must immediately clear a track for the damaged plane to land. This was an international rule that every nation followed. Just then, Margaret said to Chun Zhao, Mr. Chun, I really suggest you consult my therapy center. Chun Zhao didn't argue with Margaret. He felt much more relaxed after the danger was resolved. Right then he felt the need to pee. Chun Zhao rose to go to the luxurious lavatory, but there seemed to be someone there. He could only go to the lavatory in economy. After finishing, he felt much freer and relaxed. Suddenly, a hand grasped Chun Zhao's neck without warning. Don't move. Someone started yelling at the passengers in economy class. I have. Chun Zhao didn't even listen to the man's words. He instinctively threw the man onto the floor. Ah! The entire process took less than a second. The man's arm was already broken by Chun Zhao. He was nailed to the ground. All the passengers and flight attendants were dazed. What did the man plan to do? Hijack the plane? Kidnap someone? But didn't he fail too quickly? This must be the biggest fail for a hijack in history, right? He was dealt with on the spot. He couldn't even say a complete line of his script. Some brave passengers laughed. Haha. Sir, you should have let him finish his words. That terrorist is too weak. If it were me, I could probably take him down in a minute too. What a failure. Is he here for comedy? Maybe. Maybe the flight attendants were scared that we would complain about the flight changes, so they had these two people put up a show. At that time, this person's other hand reached into his clothes. Beep beep beep. Chun Zhao and the flight attendants heard the sound. They flipped the man over. There was actually a timer-like thing tied to this man's body. Let me guess. This is a timed bomb, right? Chun Zhao's smile was a bit awkward. The flight attendants beside him paled. They didn't know what to do. Chun Zhao pulled the bomb off the man, but the countdown didn't stop because of this. 19. 40, 19. 39. Make it stop. Haha. It can't stop. Everyone, let's die together. Haha. The man laughed loudly. He looked like he was looking forward to dying. Chun Zhao had a headache. He was the most afraid of someone who didn't even fear death. There was nothing that could threaten someone who didn't fear death. At least Chun Zhao had no solutions. Does anyone know how to defuse bombs? Chun Zhao looked up at the passengers. The passengers who'd been making fun of the terrorist earlier were all dazed now. They gaped at the bomb in Chun Zhao's hands. Suddenly, screams and sobs erupted. The entire cabin was filled with sounds of despair. Chun Zhao scratched his head. Can you open the door of the plane and we toss this thing down? He asked. The few flight attendants glanced at him without speaking. We can't? We can't, a flight attendant said. The door can't be opened when the plane is at a high altitude. The cabin door is closed from air pressure. Basically, all the air pressure in the cabin is pressed against the door. It can only be opened mechanically after the plane lands and the air pressure inside and out are stabilized. Chun Zhao thought for a moment and asked, How about I try? Try what? Opening the cabin door. Sir, it's useless. The door can't be opened. There's no need to try. It's surpassed human limits. Then find a few more people to try. Chun Zhao waved the bomb in his hand. There's not much time left. Any brave people willing to help? I'll do it. Me too. I'll come too. At times like these, there were still people willing to stand out. 3 white guys walked to the flight attendants. Chun Zhao walked over too. The flight attendant looked at the men and led them to the cabin door. I need to open the digital lock first, the attendant said. Then you guys pull the lever. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Chun Zhao cheered the 3 men on from the back. A few minutes later, someone stepped back, shaking his head. No, it's too tight. I can't budge it at all. I'll try. Chun Zhao replaced him. 1, 2, 3, go. This time the flight attendant cheered them on. It's moving. The other 2 white guys were really excited. Harder, try harder. Hurry, time's running out. The lever moved a bit more. It started producing cranking sounds and twisting slowly. Hurry, only 2 minutes left. Hurry. Chun Zhao was using power secretly. He couldn't make it too obvious. But hearing the flight attendant's words, he immediately applied more strength. As the lever turned, a crack appeared in the cabin door. The air current started seeping out. Chun Zhao reached out and grabbed the crack. He pulled with force and the door opened a lot more. Chun Zhao turned around. He grabbed the timed bomb and swung his arm powerfully. Throw it far, the flight attendant called. Don't get it stuck on the plane's wing. Chapter 507, Diviner Charlotte. Nobody saw how far Chun Zhao had thrown the bomb. They all looked outside but did not see it. In fact, Chun Zhao had kept the bomb in his spatial ring. He could have done it way earlier. After the bomb was discovered, he had been trying to search for an opportunity to keep it in the ring. He clearly could not do so under everyone's eyes. We did it. Yes, we're alive. You saved everyone on the plane. Everyone was bursting with excitement, while Chun Zhao returned to his seat in silence. Margaret glanced at Chun Zhao. Aren't you excited? You just saved everyone here. Chun Zhao shrugged. I didn't do much. Margaret looked at him again, and then at those who had jointly opened the door just now. They were all celebrating wildly, even enjoying the cheers of other passengers. Chun Zhao's reaction was obviously abnormal. Margaret was more certain that Chun Zhao had a mental disorder. Forget it, I don't know him. Better stay away from him. Just then, a flight attendant walked over with a bottle of red wine. Mr. Chun, hello. The captain asked me to give this to you. Thank you for saving all the passengers. Thank you. Chun Zhao took the wine. By the way, have you found out the identity of the bomber? How did he bring the bomb up the plane? He wouldn't tell us. We're only attendants, not the police, so we can't interrogate him. We've locked him in the restroom for now. As for your questions, we would also like to know the answers. All right. Chun Zhao was indifferent. Anyway, they were going to land soon. The answers were meaningless to him. When Chun Zhao brought the 2 girls down from the plane, he saw some people carrying the bomber out. There was a deep wound on his neck. He was probably going to die. The bomber must have broken the mirror in the restroom and tried to commit suicide. The three pilots also saw the bomber and discussed softly among themselves. The Grim Reaper's words have come true. 30 minutes and he's really dead. Luckily we didn't have to die with him. Hello. Chun Zhao saw Margaret and actively greeted her. Hello, goodbye. Margaret left in a hurry. She did not want to talk to Chun Zhao at all unless it was in a clinic. Brother, she seems to be scared of you. Chun Zhao rubbed his nose. What's so scary about me? Just then, Hill Nans found Chun Zhao and came to greet him. Mr. Chun, the airport has arranged a new flight. It'll depart in 2 hours, Hill Nans said. Huh, I rented a car. I'm going to drive there. Anyway, their destination was only a few hundred kilometers away. The plane would not be much faster than the car. Furthermore, Chun Zhao hated the plane. He would feel uneasy on every plane ride, especially when he had almost lost his life just now. Is it? Let's go together. We'll split the car rent. Sigh. Chun Zhao just wanted to shake Hill Nans off. However, Hill Nans clearly did not realize this and still wanted to follow him. Chun Zhao had no choice but to take Hill Nans with him. Washington was about 400 kilometers away from New York. Driving there would normally just take 3.5 hours. Moreover, given the developed car culture in America, car rental companies could be found everywhere in the country. Wherever one was, one could rent a car. It was really convenient. Mr. Chun, why do we need such a big car? Chun Zhao also wanted to rent a smaller car, but Blackie wanted a seat for himself. Look at how much luggage we have. A small car won't fit them all. All right, you're really thoughtful. Chun Zhao rolled his eyes. This was why he did not like to chat with Hill Nans. Chun Zhao could not withstand his tone. Mr. Chun, aren't you sitting in the front row? On the plane, Hill Nans did not manage to talk to Chun Zhao. He had been looking forward to having a medical discussion in the car. Mr. Hill, don't you think we should discuss only during the seminar? Oh, Mr. Chun, are you going to give a speech during the seminar? Depends on my preparation, Chun Zhao said in a perfunctory tone. Chun Zhao was only here to travel because it was free. He was clearly not going to give a speech. Although he admired Hill Nan's persistence about medicine, he was too annoying. The car advanced on the highway. In the distance, there was a red-haired lady carrying a huge backpack. She kept waving her hand looking for a free ride. America had a very unique highway culture. Many travelers would wait at the roadside for free rides. Of course, this also meant many crimes. Nevertheless, Hill Nan still stopped the car. Hey lady, where are you going? New York. Come in. Hill Nans opened the door to the front row. Chun Zhao face-bombed. The front seat was for Blackie. With her crimson hair, it was easy for the lady to leave a deep impression on other people. Hello guys, I'm Charlotte Jabas. Hello Hill Nans. He's my colleague Chun Zhao and his 2 sisters. Charlotte turned around and shook hands with Chun Zhao. Death is lingering around you. Either you're going to die soon, or you're a friend of death. Stunned, Chun Zhao stared at Charlotte with a strange look. Miss Charlotte, may I ask what's your occupation? Diviner. How about you? Mr. Chun is a doctor and a professor at UCLA. Hill Nans answered for Chun Zhao. Can you divine for us? Your intense curiosity has given you your wisdom today. You're a learner. You're seeking a more perfect career life, Charlotte said, glancing at Hill Nans. Divine for me too. Yura was very interested. You're filled with vitality. You've just recovered from a major illness, Charlotte said. How about me? Cheryl looked at Charlotte. Charlotte looked back at Cheryl. Your eyes are full of wildness. Little girl, you're special. This diviner seemed to be special. Chun Zhao could not help but inspect Charlotte. How about me? Chun Zhao also wanted to know what Charlotte had to say about him. Mr. Chun, didn't I tell you already? Death is circling around you. You're going to die soon or you're a friend of death. Charlotte's words clearly had a hidden meaning. You're similar to me. Chun Zhao shrugged. Do all diviners tell people such ambiguous and cursory answers? Haha. Stop exposing me, Charlotte laughed. Chapter 508. Taking Over Territory. Miss Charlotte, why are you on this highway? Hill Nance asked. Are you traveling? No, I'm here for work, but my client left me on the highway. I'm so unlucky. Don't let me catch that bastard. Why did he leave you on the road? Because he was controlled by evil spirits. At least that's what I think. Hill actually didn't have any reaction. Instead, he asked Charlotte many questions curiously. Hill, do you believe Miss Charlotte's words? I'm writing a supernatural story recently. Charlotte's words gave me a lot of inspiration. You really have a wide range of interests. Chan Zhao felt speechless, but it was good that they were talking. At least Hill didn't have to annoy him. Hill brought Charlotte to her home. It was a small wooden house in a suburb surrounded by barren land. There wasn't a single neighbor, let alone any stores. Charlotte invited everyone to go in and sit, but they rejected her. After all, it was getting late. They had to hurry and check into the hotel. Hill started the car. Charlotte suddenly called for them to stop. Mr. Chun, can you come down for a second? Chun Zhao thought for a moment and got out of the car. Anything wrong? Mr. Chun, are you a spiritualist? Kind of. There are a few supernatural organizations in New York. As an outsider, it's best if you don't expose your identity. Is it dangerous? Usually no, but you have to be extra careful of the Evil Spirit Society. What Evil Spirit Society? It's a force established by an ancient and strong evil spirit. It's even stronger than all the spiritualists in New York. The organization would fight with other forces. Outsider spiritualists would especially become their target. Okay, I understand. Thank you for your reminder. Goodbye. Bye. Everyone arrived at the hotel. Other than the 2 rooms that the school booked for him and Hill Nance, Chan Zhao also booked 2 other rooms. Brother, can me and Cheryl have a room to ourselves? No. Then why are there 2 rooms? It wasn't like Chan Zhao could tell them that the room was for a Grim Reaper, right? Mr. Chan, are you free tonight? We can sit and have a nice chat. Sorry, no time. I'm really tired. I have to rest. Hill wouldn't let go of any chance to spend time alone with Chan Zhao. Chan Zhao even suspected that if Hill was a woman, he would dive right into his arms. Okay, he didn't want to think about that. Everyone was tired today, so they had to catch up on sleep. However, just as Chan Zhao changed into his pajamas and laid down, Blackie came out of the wall again. Chan Zhao, I need help. Blackie, can we go from the front and knock on the door? This is really disturbing. Even after interacting with Blackie for half a year, Chan Zhao still wasn't used to it. Blackie coming out of the wall all the time really made Chan Zhao tired. I'll be careful next time, Blackie said. But can you help me? I have unwanted guests in my room. What do you mean? After opening Blackie's door, Chan Zhao heard chaotic heavy metal music inside. A young man in his 20s was drinking while fucking a girl. Chan Zhao clapped his hands. Guys, this is someone's room. Why are you here? The naked man and woman turned to look at Chan Zhao. Get out, the girl shrieked. Get out. Chan Zhao plugged his ears. You're the ones who should be getting out. Just then, the woman suddenly flew over and pounced on Chan Zhao. This movement definitely wasn't what a normal person should do. Her strength wasn't like a regular woman either. Her nails were sharp and hurt Chan Zhao as she grabbed him. Chan Zhao raised his hand. He grabbed the woman's neck and lifted her in the air. But this woman didn't struggle and get suffocated like a regular woman. She was still attacking Chan Zhao crazily. The man also pounced at Chan Zhao. Chan Zhao raised a leg and sent the man flying to the ground. Chan Zhao swung the woman out of the door. He was about to throw the man out too, when a spirit suddenly came out of his body. It pounced at Chan Zhao. When the spirit appeared, Blackie also moved. Ah! The scythe swept past softly. The spirit was hooked away. Next, a spirit also came out of the woman that Chan Zhao had tossed out the door. What did you do? What did you do to Adelway? The female evil spirit yelled in fury. You're dead, you're dead. Grandfather won't forgive you. Let go Adelway go. Hurry and let him go. How about you come and accompany him? With that, Blackie acted again. The female evil spirit couldn't even react before she was hooked away by Blackie's scythe. What's going on? Possession? Chun Zhao was confused. I don't understand either, Blackie said. I didn't discover anything before this. Chun Zhao called the hotel's front desk. You guys better come over. I booked a room but someone broke into it. If you can't give me a satisfactory explanation, I'll report your hotel. Shortly after, a manager and 2 guards came up. They saw the unconscious couple on the ground. Sir, hello. I am Eveline, the manager. Can you tell me what happened? This is my room, but when I opened the door, not only were people there, they also attacked me. I knocked them out. I need an explanation. What happened and how will you take care of this? Eveline's expression wasn't good. If Chun Zhao's accusations were true, then it was a huge mistake on their part. Go check, she said to the employee beside her. Soon the employee came back. Manager, this sir booked 3 rooms including this one. As for the 2 people, we don't know why they're here either. But no one has stayed in this room for a long while. It's been empty for around 3 years. Once, guests in the neighboring room complained that this room would often have heavy metal music and the sound of sex. And you never checked this room before this? No, because it always showed that no one was staying in it. Eveline had a headache. No matter the reason, it was the hotel's mistake. Sir, how about this? I'll upgrade your 3 rooms to a luxury suite as your compensation. All of you and your friends' bills within the hotel for the next 3 days will also be free. Agree, Blackie urged from the side. Chapter 509, Client in New York. Chun Zhao, Yura, Cheryl and Blackie were all moved to luxury suites. Blackie was very satisfied with the arrangement. At the moment, Eveline was standing beside Chun Zhao. Sir, are you happy with the arrangement? Not bad, Chun Zhao nodded. May I ask when your friends will move in? That's our problem. Chun Zhao glanced at Blackie, who was lying on the sofa in the near distance. The sofa was clearly depressed. Fortunately, Eveline did not notice it, or she would definitely be scared to death. All right. I wish you a nice trip here. If you need anything else, please call me anytime. Eveline and Chun Zhao exited the room. Just then, they saw Margaret walk out of the opposite room. Hey, Miss. Margaret, you're staying here too? Here. Hi, Mr. Chun. Margaret did not expect to encounter Chun Zhao here. She had been avoiding Chun Zhao precisely because she was sure that Chun Zhao had a mental problem. As a psychologist, she knew how dangerous some mental illness patients could be. The more harmless they looked, the more dangerous they usually were. Margaret did not like to contact with mental illness patients outside her clinic, because she could not confirm if the person was safe or not. Unaware of Margaret's thoughts, Chun Zhao invited warmly, "Would you like to have a drink? My treat." Eveline had yet to leave. Her face was obviously darkening. Although you can eat and drink for free for these 3 days, you can't do this. Nope. I have something to do. Goodbye. Ms. Margaret, New York isn't safe at night. It's the Sin City. Please be careful. Mr. Chun, New York is not as dangerous as you think. Eveline could not help but correct Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao glanced at her. Ms. Eveline, I can't tell my friend that New York is safe and feel free to take a stroll at night. You'll be fine, can I? Oh. Margaret smiled. I'm in a hurry. Sorry. Who's your friend? With her handbag, Margaret left in a rush. I'm leaving too, Mr. Chun. Eveline left as well. Just then Chun Zhao's phone rang. Chun, you're in New York, right? It was Ethan. Yes, and I've asked you to reject any clients for me. No, there's a client in New York. What? New York? How did you get a client in New York when you're in LA? I have an old friend in New York. He's like me. We were chatting just now, and he told me that he has a client. None of his partners can solve the problem. I thought of you, so I recommended you to him. I see. Who's the client? Dunno. I'll give you a number. Call him yourself. Name's Therese. Fine. Oh, hello, Mr. Therese. I'm the person recommended by Ethan. You can call me Chun. Hi, Chun. Can you solve my client's problem? I haven't even seen the client. I can't promise you that I'll be able to help them. All right. Where are you now? I'll go and fetch you. After fixing a time with Therese, Chun Zhao waited in the lobby with his equipment kit. Just then Eveline approached him. Mr. Chun, are you waiting for someone? Yup. Suddenly, a middle-aged man walked into the hotel. He was wearing a black windbreaker and a men's hat. Hello, are you Chun? I'm Therese. Mr. Therese, are we leaving now? Yes. Chun Zhao turned his head and glanced at Eveline. See you, Miss Eveline. Therese seemed to be in a hurry and his car was almost speeding. At this hour, the nightlife had just begun and there were many cars on the road. Chun Zhao felt rather uncomfortable. Mr. Therese, could you please slow down? Sorry, it's really urgent. Therese apologized, but he did not decelerate. Finally, the car stopped before a manor. In this country, every city had super billionaires. New York was a cosmopolitan metropolis and a hot spot for the rich. Even Los Angeles could not be compared to New York in terms of the number and wealth of rich people. Chun Zhao was already familiar with entering a rich person's house. The guard at the gates notified the people inside and someone came to bring them in. Soon Chun Zhao and Therese were brought to the living room. However, Chun Zhao did not expect to actually see Margaret here. Miss Margaret, what a coincidence. We meet again. Margaret's face went black. How did I bump into him again? Miss Margaret, what are you doing here? Margaret's cheeks twitched. I'm here to see my patient. She gave a casual reply as she inspected Chun Zhao. You're an illegal doctor. Chun Zhao smiled. He appeared here at this hour with his toolbox. There was no way he could explain it. I'm just helping my friend, Chun Zhao answered. Anyway, he would not admit directly that he was illegal. Even if he was already exposed, he would surely not admit it himself. Suddenly they heard a deep shout from the room inside. Ah! Chun Zhao could not tell if it was a miserable scream or an angry roar. Chun Zhao glanced at Margaret. Did they have the same patient? But she was a psychologist while he was an illegal doctor who could treat anything but mental disorders. Their expertise surely did not overlap, right? Just then a person who looked like a housekeeper walked out. He looked somewhat tired. Miss Margaret, Mr. Chun, you may enter now. With some suspicion, the two walked into the bedroom. Chun Zhao saw a large bed with someone sitting on top of it. Strangely, one of his hands was cuffed to the metal rod at the bedside. The person looked quite low-spirited. He lowered his head, panting continuously. Both Chun Zhao and Margaret stared at the person in confusion. Was he a criminal or the owner of the house? Why was he cuffed to the bed? Suddenly, his secured right arm pulled fiercely, as if he was trying to break free. Stop standing there and watching. Come here and help me. Chapter 5:10. This isn't a sci-fi movie, this is magic. The two exchanged awkward glances. Chun Zhao made a gentlemanly move. Ladies first. Margaret thought for a moment. Since she'd come all the way here, there was no reason to stop here. She walked forward. Sir, what is your name? Louis Clallam, the other replied. When Margaret heard this name, she reflexively raised her head. Even though she was a doctor, she'd still heard of Louis Clallam's name before. Plus, she didn't think that the handsome Louis Clallam from the media or newspapers would look so miserable now. Wasn't this Louis Clallam, the top billionaire from financial newspapers? Mr. Clallam, where do you feel uncomfortable? Crash. Just then Louis pulled on his right arm with difficulty. He was handcuffed. My right arm isn't under my control, Louis said. It keeps destroying and attacking uncontrollably. How is that possible? Margaret froze. This kind of mental patient was too strange. Was it dissociative identity disorder? But with DID, shouldn't it be two or more personalities fighting for control of the body? It wouldn't be only control over a part of the body. Chun Zhao watched Louis's right arm from the side. The right arm was very strange. Chen Zhao sensed an unordinary aura from it. It was a demon's aura. A demon was controlling his arm. No, it should be demonic blood. Louis Clallam's body contained a demonic system. However, his demon blood wasn't mixed into his own blood like other half-demons. His demon blood was separated cleanly and only existed in his right arm. This was like Chen Zhao. His right arm contained demon blood too. The blood of the mouth of gluttony. Plus, his right arm had lost control before. But now, he could completely control his right arm. It's coming. It's coming again. Go away. Ah! Louis suddenly started yelling. He really wanted to control his right arm, but it wouldn't follow his will at all. Thud! He broke the handcuffs apart. The entire metal rod on the headboard of the bed was broken. Scared, Margaret hurriedly stepped back. Louis reached out his right arm and snapped the metal rod. He swung it down at Margaret, scaring the wits out of her. Just then, a hand grasped Louis's right arm. His right arm was indeed strong, but it was just weak to Chen Zhao. It wasn't even like 1,000 kilograms. Chen Zhao easily controlled Louis's with his left arm. Louis stared at Chen Zhao with shock. Chen Zhao raised his left arm, lifting Louis to the air. So strong. Margaret stared at Chen Zhao in surprise. On the plane, he must have been the one who'd pulled the cabin door's lever. Louis's right arm was still trying to struggle, but Chen Zhao held it in his iron grip. Chen Zhao suddenly frowned. He could feel the power in Louis's right arm strengthening. Margaret, can you go out for a bit? Why? I am Mr. Clallam's doctor. But you can't do anything here. Louis doesn't have a mental disorder. No, I believe he has a mental disorder. I think it's a type of dissociative identity disorder. Margaret insisted stubbornly on her own opinion. Chen Zhao threw Louis down. Louis broke the bed and Margaret yelled, "How can you do that? How can you treat Mr. Clallam like that?" Just then Louis climbed up. "Miss Margaret, please go out." Louis already realized that something was amiss with his right arm. Scales were growing out of his right arm. This was obviously not normal. It wasn't because of some disease either. His right arm had mutated. "Mr. Clallam, please believe me. I can help you solve this problem. That illegal doctor isn't right in the head himself. There's no way he can solve your problem." Chen Zhao's face darkened. Not right in the head. Didn't I just talk to the air for a few minutes on the plane? Please go out. Louis yelled. "Mr. Clallam. Someone come and help Margaret out." Margaret was unwillingly taken out of the bedroom. Then Louis finally stood up. By now, his arm was very thick and he even warped the metal rod in his hand. Boom! Louis's right arm smashed heavily onto the ground. The black lines that snaked from his right arm covered his right cheek. "Can you tell me what's wrong with me?" Louis asked with difficulty. Chapter 5:11. Your problem is slightly complicated. Louis Clallam did not understand what Chen Zhao meant. Nevertheless, he could feel that his right arm was becoming more and more terrifying. His right arm was now a few times bigger than usual and even thicker than his thigh. His right fist even had a black luster and was more than 10 times bigger than normal. His hand was completely covered in scales. It was definitely not a human trait. Louis had already lost all control. Suddenly, his right arm lifted in the air and punched toward Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao also raised his right arm and the two collided head-on once again. Ah! Louis screamed in misery. Although he could not control his right arm, he could still sense pain. He felt that his right arm was totally disabled. All the bones were fractured. Then his right arm weakened. The scales slowly disappeared and his arm also shrunk in size. Gradually, it returned to its normal size. Louis began to cry in pain. After his right arm had been restored entirely, he became even more sensitive to the pain. My arm. My arm. Don't worry. I only broke the bones. It'll heal, Chen Zhao said with a smile. Who exactly are you? Oh, me? Illegal doctor. You called me here. No, not your surface identity. Why could you deal with my right arm? My right arm is similar to yours, but I can control it, Chen Zhao said. Louis stopped moaning, although he was still in great pain. Your right arm is similar to mine. Chen Zhao displayed his right arm. Immediately, it transformed into something even more unrealistic and horrifying than Louis's arm just now. It looked like a pile driver. Chen Zhao only showed it for a second before turning it back. Louis stared at the astonishing sight with his eyes wide open. Chen Zhao's right arm looked more astounding than his. Moreover, he could tell that Chen Zhao's arm was much stronger. After all, when they were fighting, Chen Zhao's arm was still in its normal form. If Chen Zhao had decided to transform before the fight, half of Louis's body would be gone by now, right? Louis swallowed some saliva. Can you tell me what's happening? I already did. You or your ancestor might be another species, and you've inherited the bloodline, Chen Zhao said. Which means it's not a disease, right? If you think it's a disease, you can have your right arm severed. That will solve your problem forever. You will not lose control again. Louis stared at Chen Zhao. How about you? Oh, me? My condition is special. You're different from me. Yes. Not just the bloodline but also the entire situation. Can you teach me how to control my right arm? Louis was a super billionaire. He still had a long life to enjoy. He would never give up his right arm unless there was no other way. No, I don't fully understand your condition yet, Chen Zhao said. Then how? Don't you have a solution? I need to go back and check my books, Chen Zhao said. Then go back now. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. I just arrived in New York today. I'm from LA. Actually, I'll only be here for 2 or 3 days. Please help me. I'll pay you any amount of money. Money? That solves all problems. When I have a solution, I'll come to New York again, Chen Zhao said. How long? I don't know. I've never met someone with such a condition before, so I can't promise that I'll be able to help you. You can't leave. What if you leave and never come back? What should I do? It's useless for me to stay now. Like what I've told you, I don't have a solution for now. I don't care. You need to return to LA now. No, I'll go with you. This was a privilege of the rich, and Louis had been enjoying it for too long. Chen Zhao frowned. Don't force me to crack your head open. I've done it before. Chen Zhao had yet to see any money, and Louis was already acting shamelessly. Oh. Chen Zhao did not mind teaching him a lesson. Louis seemed very reluctant. What if my right arm goes out of control again while you're away? Think of a solution yourself. Anyway, I don't think your right arm will act again before it recovers. Chen Zhao glanced at Louis. Alternatively, I can disable your right arm now. How about that? Louis's face twitched. No, I think I'm good for now. The pain was not something that normal people could endure. Oh. In fact, his right arm was still in great pain at the moment. Louis did not want to experience such pain again. Mr. Chen, please give me your number. Chen Zhao did so. Call me if you really need it. Otherwise, don't disturb me. Oh. When they exited the bedroom, Margaret walked up at once. Mr. Louis, he's a madman. I think that you should attend my counseling sessions and not his treatment. Ms. Margaret, I'm not crazy and I don't have a delusional disorder, Chen Zhao explained helplessly. Alright, I don't care if he has a delusional disorder. At least he solved my problem for now, Louis interrupted Margaret. By breaking your arm? I could do that too, Margaret said, unconvinced. Do you think I'm that naive? Louis glanced at Margaret. Alright, here's your pay. Louis gave Margaret a check. You may leave now. Chen Zhao stared at Louis in anticipation, but he clearly did not plan to pay now. Mr. Chen, please think of a solution for me. Fine. I'm tired. With a dark look, Chen Zhao turned around and left. Let me ask someone to send you back. Try drive, Mr. Chen back. Fuck. Why did Margaret get a check without doing anything? At least I solved your problem temporarily, and how do I have nothing? Oh. Chapter 512 Grandfather. New York's underground sewage system was a complicated project, because it was rebuilt and modified in every period of history. As time went on, even the most recent construction workers didn't know how it would develop. There were even rumors that evil things lived inside the sewers. Of course, this funny talk was at most just spread on the internet. No one would actually believe these things. However, there were indeed unknown forces hidden at some intersections of the sewage system. For example, the Evil Spirit Society. It was probably one of New York City's oldest forces. As the name implied, practically every member of the organization was an evil spirit. It was hard to imagine that a group of evil spirits could form such a strong underground group. Of course, there were also a few human members. These were the evilest group of humans. The Evil Spirit Society promised them that if they worked for the group, then they wouldn't go to hell after death. Instead, they would become an official member of the group. And in the group, both the humans and evil spirits had a common belief. Grandfather, the founder of the organization. No one knew Grandfather's true identity and background. The members of the group only knew that he was an ancient evil spirit, who was at least 400 years old. He was older than New York and even this entire country. Not only did he exist for a long time, but Grandfather was also very strong. At least, he'd always been a powerful existence in the various battles with the Witch Society and the Magic Society of New York. Every time the Evil Spirit Society was at a disadvantage, Grandfather would step out and defeat the other force. To the members of the Evil Spirit Society, Grandfather was like a god. Adelway? Where is my Adelway? A deafening sound passed through the sewage tunnel. The roar was like thunder and spread horrifyingly and without restraint. All the members of the Evil Spirit Society trembled in fear amidst the roar. A white robe covered Grandfather's body, but countless faces were roaring under his robe at the moment. Grandfather's body was swollen yet burly. He was more than 4 meters tall. My son died. He's dead. He reached out and grabbed the evil spirit closest to him, crushing it. Killing a subordinate was far from enough to extinguish his anger. His anger was like a volcano that had nowhere to let loose. Tell me who did it. I will kill him. And everyone around him. Grandfather grabbed another evil spirit. This one trembled before him. Grandfather, I don't know. Then what use are you? Die. Grandfather crushed the spirit and grabbed another one. You tell me, how did Adelway die? You don't know either. Die. You tell me. The evil spirit in Grandfather's hands pushed down his fear. Grandfather, Adelway died in Omen's hotel. So, you're saying that the person who killed Adelway is in Omen's hotel right now, right? Yes. Then if you kill everyone in the hotel, you won't miss the murderer, right? Grandfather yelled. Yes. Grandfather, if we do that, we would be fully declaring war. Even though the Evil Spirit Society was known as the strongest force in New York, they still didn't have absolute power. In the end, they were a force that existed in the underground. The magic in which communities were also very strong. They definitely couldn't let loose and execute a large-scale attack on regular people. Then just declare an all-out war. I'm done living in the dark underground. I should bathe in the moonlight. Grandfather had completely lost his mind. Call those dirty and lowly servants over. Call all of their subordinates too. The evil spirits all knew that the dirty and lowly servant that Grandfather mentioned were the human members. Grandfather never thought highly of humans. This was evident from what he called them. If not for the fact that some things had to be done by humans, Grandfather would probably kill them all. Within a few hours, all of the human members and their followers were summoned to the Evil Spirit Society. These human members were mostly leaders of gangs. The people under them didn't know who their head was. They also didn't know why they were here. These gangs had many members. There were a dozen bosses. The smaller gangs had around 10 members while the larger ones had dozens. There were 300 people in total. But now, they were all crammed above a large mass of dirty water in the sewer. The ground underfoot was made of wooden planks. The foul smell seeped in through the cracks. The wood was very old and splinters would pop out when stepped on. Boss, why are we here? Isn't that the razors? Why are they here too? Shut up. Later, Don't panic no matter what happens. At the drainage hole above the water, Grandfather was looking down on the hundreds of gangsters. Okay, we can begin, Grandfather said emotionlessly. At the moment of his command, the platform made of wooden planks collapsed. The hundreds of people fell into the dirty water in an instant. Ah, what's going on? Why is this happening? Smells like shit. I knew I shouldn't have come. Most of the people were struggling in the water, but the walls in the ditch went straight up and down. The entrance was 7 or 8 meters high. They couldn't climb up at all. Right then, someone noticed that the dirty water was snaking into their mouths. Vomit. Pa, what's this? Goddamn help. Wah, what's pulling me? Someone give me a hand. This wasn't a ditch of dirty water at all. It was an evil spirit ditch. Basically, some older evil spirits had lost consciousness and were tossed into this ditch. As the numbers accumulated, it slowly turned into this dirty water-like state. If living beings fell into the ditch, the mindless evil spirits would invade the bodies. Evil spirits kept pouring into the gangsters' mouths. One after another, the gangsters became the host bodies of these spirits. The people who were already possessed by the evil spirits started twisting their limbs and climbing up on the wall like lizards. Chapter 513 playing. Ah! Chun Zhao stretched himself. He had a really good sleep last night. As he drew the curtains, the bright sunlight shone in, but the temperature was just right. Suddenly, he heard a series of rapid knocks on the door. Chun Zhao opened the door and saw Yura and Cheryl charge into the room. Brother, where are we going to play today? Yura looked very energetic. Since she had her bone marrow transplanted, her health had been improving. Let's go to the Statue of Liberty. I want to see it. Theme park. I want to go to a theme park. Before Chun Zhao could answer, Hill Nans walked in. Mr. Chun, here you are. When did you change your room? I spent so long knocking on your door last night, but you didn't answer, so I thought you were too tired and went to sleep. Today I asked the reception and realized that you've changed your room. Have you had breakfast? Why don't we have a short discussion over breakfast? Sir, excuse me. A waiter pushed in a serving trolley which was filled with sumptuous food. Here. I don't think I ordered breakfast, Chun Zhao said, confused. Wow. Do luxury suites come with such amazing complimentary breakfast? Hill Nans asked in surprise. I'm tempted to upgrade too. Why don't we have this? Yura and Cheryl asked, displeased. I don't have it too. Blackie came. Mr. Chun, someone ordered it for you, the waiter replied. Someone ordered for me? Chun Zhao thought about it. Could it be Eveline, the manager? Enjoy. The waiter put the food down and left. I haven't had breakfast too. Mr. Chun, you don't mind if I eat with you, do you? Chun Zhao could not reject the shameless Hill Nans. If you want. Yura and Cheryl had never had such a deluxe breakfast, not even Yura. Steamed lobsters, mashed potato omelet with sauce, foie gras and caviar teriyaki beef tongue. There were more than a dozen dishes. This was a feast, not breakfast. Probably cost $3,000 or $4,000. That time, Chun Zhao had only spent $5,000 on the party, and there were more than 20 people. Chun Zhao did not reject the meal. He wolfed down the food, but it was more like an appetizer for him. The food was incredibly nice, but it was too little. Chun Zhao would not even be close to full if he had all of it himself, not to mention that there were 4 people. Mr. Chun, the seminar starts at 2. Do you have any plans for the morning? Hill Nan stared at Chun Zhao, his eyes glowing. If not, why don't we have a chat first? I have. Sorry, I'm bringing them out to play, Chun Zhao said. Here. All right. Will you be free tonight? I need to prepare my speech for tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow? I'm going to visit my friend. Oh. Chun Zhao was so done with Hill Nans's constant pestering. He was already starting to regret promising Right to attend the seminar. Just then a person walked into the room. It was Louis Clallam. One of his arms was plastered. Mr. Chun, how was your breakfast? You ordered it? Chun Zhao was surprised. I'm living next door. Next door. Chun Zhao was more bewildered. When did Louis move in? Why would he live beside Chun Zhao? What was the point? Chun Zhao had made it clear to him that he did not have a solution for his arm for now. Chun Zhao had to go back and do some research first. In fact, Louis also felt helpless. After all, Chun Zhao was the only person so far who knew his condition and might possibly heal him. He was worried that Chun Zhao would never return again after going back to LA. Hence, he decided to befriend Chun Zhao first. They are. Louis Clallam looked at the others. This is Professor Hill Nance from UCLA. They're my sisters. Hello. Louis shook hands with Hill Nance. Hill Nance recognized the billionaire Louis. He did not expect Chun Zhao to know such a person. Is this your first time in New York? I can bring you around. Thanks, but we already have plans, Chun Zhao said. Louis Clallam was also very troublesome. Chun Zhao did not want Louis to keep pestering him too. Oh, Hill Nance has been a very famous surgeon. Perhaps he has a way to fix your arm. Why don't you have a talk? Louis looked at Hill Nance. He thought that since Hill Nance was Chun Zhao's companion, he might actually be good. Chun Zhao fled from the hotel with Yura and Cheryl. New York was too huge. A single morning was clearly not enough to visit the place fully. Chun Zhao first brought Yura and Cheryl to the Statue of Liberty. Both the base of the statue and the statue itself were about 46 meters tall. Together they added up to roughly 93 meters. The Statue of Liberty was a spiritual symbol for many locals. Chun Zhao, however, did not find it interesting. In fact, he would rather sleep in the hotel than climb the statue. During the entire process, Cheryl and Yura were the ones who were dragging Chun Zhao along. The two really seemed to enjoy themselves though. After they left the statue, Chun Zhao went to buy the two girls some ice cream. When he returned, he saw a perverted-looking man trying to approach Yura and Cheryl. Hey girls, would you like to become stars? Famous stars. Who are you? Yura stared at the man in suspicion. I'm a talent scout. Do you know what I do? I search for potential entertainment talents. I've already made a few people famous. Are you interested? The perverted-looking man's saliva flew all over the place. If you want to become stars, follow me. I would love to, but I think someone will not agree. Some cunningness flashed across Yura's eyes. It's okay. If your parents find out about it, they'll be happy that you can become stars and earn big money. They will agree. Suddenly, the man felt some pain on his shoulder. I don't. Who are you? The perverted-looking man turned his head. When he saw an Asian, he raised his volume. I'm her dad. Scram. Chun Zhao smashed the two ice cream cones into the man's face. What a brutal man. Cops. Come here. Chapter 514 Red Alert. There were many police officers around the Statue of Liberty to maintain order. Hearing the cry of the pervert, two officers came over. What's going on? Sir, this Asian hit me for no reason, the pervert yelled, pointing at Chun Zhao. Can you explain? He was harassing my little sister, Chun Zhao explained indifferently. I suspect that he has other motives and wants to abduct minors. I'm not a scammer. I really am a talent scout. You came over to approach them when I wasn't there and tried tricking them to go with you. Officers, the abduction motive should be quite clear, right? The two officers' expressions changed slightly. According to law, trying to invite two minors to a private location or home could be interpreted as abduction. Of course, this pervert failed his abduction for now. America's laws for protecting minors were crazy. Sir, you said that you're a scout. Can you provide a license? No, the pervert said. Then come with us for a trip to the station. The other police came over. He studied Chun Zhao and then glanced at Yura and Cheryl. They're your sisters. That's my sister Yura, and she's my sister's friend. I know her guardian too. I brought her out with her guardian's permission. Is that true, little girl? The officer asked. Yes. Cheryl nodded. The police was just asking standard questions. As for Mr. Talent Scout, he was handcuffed by the officer, but he was still yelling, I'm a talent scout. You can't do this to me. Oh. Chun Zhao led the two girls to a restaurant. They ordered 3 lunches. Cheryl and Yura both had good appetites. After all, they were at the age where they grew quickly, so they ate quite a lot. Just then a ball of hot fire came at them. Charlotte was here. Judging from her clothes, she was a chef here. Chun Zhao was taken aback. Hi, Charlotte. I saw you guys inside, so I came to say hi. How's the food? Suit your taste? It's good, Chun Zhao said. Charlotte, are you a chef here? And the owner, Charlotte said with a smile. This restaurant is mine. Charlotte studied Chun Zhao and continued, Mr. Chun, how come you're shrouded by death whenever I see you? Technically, you should have died long ago. The 3 looked at Charlotte with strange gazes. Like they were just talking. Why was she suddenly wishing death on him? Charlotte, Cheryl said seriously. Chan is a really powerful spiritualist. No one can kill him. To Cheryl, Chun Zhao is undefeatable. Charlotte chuckled. She wouldn't argue with a fangirl over whether her idol was as excellent or strong as she thought. However, Charlotte was a strong witch herself, so she didn't think that a wizard could be stronger than her, let alone unable to be killed like Cheryl said. There were too many dangers in the world. Even Charlotte didn't dare to say that no one could kill her, let alone a wizard who was shrouded with death. Chun Zhao was helpless. It wasn't his fault that Blackie stayed by his side. With Blackie by him, it would be strange if he wasn't shrouded with death. Mr. Chun, I'm serious. I hope you can be careful. The aura of death on you is very heavy. This is dangerous. Perhaps the Grim Reaper is looking at you right this moment. Okay, I'll be careful. Chun Zhao nodded. I have something this afternoon, so we'll be going now. Bye. The medical conference was this afternoon and it was at the hotel, so Chun Zhao had to hurry back. Even though he said he was here for the conference, he was actually here for vacation. But he still had to attend what he must. If he didn't even attend the conference, that would be too much. You two just stay in the hotel this afternoon, Chun Zhao said. Don't run around. New York was an international city, but the title of City of Evil didn't come from nowhere. The crime rate here was always very high, so Chun Zhao was worried that the two girls would get lost in the unfamiliar city. Yura had just recovered and had to be under watch still. Cheryl also had a sensitive identity. If she accidentally revealed her identity and was discovered by outsiders, it would be very troublesome. An entire afternoon. The hotel is so big. There's a kids' corner, a pool, and a game center. There are a lot of places you can go to. I won't even mind if you go to the bar. Oh, there are stripper dances there. If you're interested. Yura and Cheryl exchanged glances, clearing planning on running out by themselves. To them, they weren't kids anymore. They could care for themselves well. I know what you're thinking. If you dare to step half a foot out of the hotel, I'll make sure you can't go anywhere afterward. I'll put you two to sleep and you'll spend the next 2 days in bed. Okay, we'll listen to you, Yura and Cheryl said unwillingly. Should I put a mark on them? Blackie asked. What kind of mark? A soul print. No matter where they go, I'll be able to find them. Sure, Chun Zhao said. Give them a soul print. I'm worried. Even though they agreed, Chun Zhao really wasn't reassured with their rebellious personalities. Or he could break their legs. Charlotte, something happened. Report immediately to headquarters. What happened? Charlotte was still busy in her restaurant. Red alert, the person on the other end of the call said. Charlotte's expression changed drastically. Red alert. You're not joking with me. Even the members in nearby cities have started hurrying over. It's the mage's order. She'd never run into this before. Apparently, the last red alert was 30 years ago. At that time, the Evil Spirit Society and Witch Society had an all-out war. The witches suffered horribly in that battle. She didn't think that a red alert would happen today too. This was the highest alert in the Witch Society. No member could be missing. Charlotte immediately tugged off her apron and ran out of the restaurant toward the headquarters. When she arrived, there were already dozens of witches inside and outside of the building. Just then, a group of both genders arrived outside. These people rushed into the headquarters. Charlotte's expression changed. The Sorcerer Society came too. Chapter 515 Crisis Incoming. The Witch Society consisted only witches, while the Sorcerer Society had both witches and wizards. The average combat power of the Witch Society was clearly higher. Nevertheless, the Sorcerer Society had many members, so they were not weak either. Charlotte walked into the HQ. Not many people were inside. There were no more than 20 people, including those from the Sorcerer Society. When everyone saw Charlotte, an old witch who could hardly keep her back straight pushed her glasses up. "Charlotte, here you are." "Mage." The mage referred to the leader of the Witch Society, not how powerful a witch was. Nonetheless, given that she could become the leader, the old witch was certainly very powerful. "Charlotte, you must have seen them before. They're the most outstanding young witches in the clan." A golden-haired man from the Sorcerer Society approached Charlotte and extended his hand gentlemanly, attempting to hold Charlotte's hand. "Hi, Miss. Charlotte, nice to meet you. I'm Jerome Yemen." "Hi," Charlotte replied perfunctorily, not planning to continue the conversation. Jerome Yemen's lips twitched, but he returned to normal immediately. "Mage, could you please tell me what's happening? Adaway from the Evil Spirit Society died." "You mean the eternal son of the Evil Spirit Society's leader?" "Yep, he's the one. He died in Omen's hotel." "Our people did it?" Charlotte asked. "No, we have no idea who killed him, but he's dead now. The Evil Spirit Society's leader is totally enraged, lost all control of himself. He's going to kill everyone in Omen's hotel." Charlotte opened her mouth in astonishment. "Is he mad? He knows that if he does that, the government will launch an insane revenge plan, right?" The government always knew of the existence of the Evil Spirit Society, the Witch Society, and the Sorcerer Society. There were even connections between the government and the three parties. In any era, the power of the government was always the strongest. The three clans had actually been walking on the edge of tolerance. If the Evil Spirit Society really slaughtered the hundreds of people in Omen's hotel, it would be an absolute provocation to the government. In the past, the three clans had been restraining each other, so the government had averted their eyes. However, if something like this were to happen, the government would surely take action. By then, even the Witch Society and the Sorcerer Society might be affected. Moreover, the two clans had signed some agreements with the government. For example, they had to ensure the safety of commoners, and supernatural battles must not affect them. Yes, he is mad. He's lost all rationality. Then what should we do? We have no choice but to respond to the war, the mage said. Can we send someone to negotiate with the leader of the Evil Spirit Society? We'll find the person who murdered his son and hand the person to him, and he'll stop the revenge, Jerome Yemen said. Everyone stared at him in confusion, including his companions from the Sorcerer Society. Do you know what you're saying? The reality, Jerome Yemen said. If we go to war with the Evil Spirit Society, we'll definitely suffer a catastrophic loss. The members of the Evil Spirit Society are all dead. They aren't afraid of dying, but we have neither the resources nor the power to fight with them. The best option is to compromise. If we can find the murderer that killed Adaway, we can stop this war by just sacrificing one person. It's a great trade. The eyes of Galileo, the leader of the Sorcerer Society, glittered. To be honest, he was quite convinced by the plan. How about you go and negotiate with the Evil Spirit Society? Charlotte looked at Jerome Yemen with a smile. With your eloquence, I'm sure you'll be able to persuade their leader. I don't want to face those distorted monsters, Jerome said. Then who do you think we should send? Someone from the Witch Society. You're more powerful than us. Any one of you will do. The mage glanced at Jerome Yemen, frowning. All right. Given his insanity, he'll never compromise on something that he's decided. I've been fighting with him for 100 years and I know him well. If you're too scared to face the war, you may leave now. The Witch Society will face the Evil Spirit Society alone. Madam, please don't be angry. We don't mean that. Galileo woke up very soon. He had been fighting with the Evil Spirit Society for quite a long while as well. He knew what kind of ugly monster the grandfather of the Evil Spirit Society was. What we need to do now is to first evacuate the normal people in Omen's hotel. Can't let them stay there. It's too dangerous. Who knows the staff in Omen's hotel? The mage asked. Jerome Yemen tidied his hair and said proudly, I do. Leave that to me. I know nearly all the famous people in New York. Oh. In the medical seminar, there were about 100 famous doctors and professors from all over America. Many of them would go up the stage and give a short speech. It was a seminar organized by an official medical institution, so many people were more like Chan Zhao. They were only here to travel for free. This was a common sight in many places around the world. Most people almost dozed off as they listened to the speeches. Scanning the area, Chan Zhao only saw a few people paying full attention. One of them was Hill Nance. He was listening to the talks and taking some notes. Boring humans. Isn't it more meaningful for you to place a corpse on the stage and take turns to dissect it? Blackie said, extremely bored. He had followed Chan Zhao here to experience various things, including the seminar. Chan Zhao had already warned him in advance that the seminar was going to be boring, but Blackie still followed him here. Indeed, in no time he began to complain just like Chan Zhao. It was totally boring. Chan Zhao propped his chin with one hand, feeling very sleepy. All right, that's the end of today's session. There's another exchange tomorrow afternoon. See you there, the organizer said with a microphone. Chan Zhao stood up at once. He was finally free. Hill Nance was already looking for Chan Zhao. When he saw Chan Zhao walking out, he shouted immediately, Mr. Chan? That human is calling you. Didn't hear, Chan Zhao muttered to himself. They blocked their escape route. A dozen people got out of the cars. The one at the front was Campbell. Cheryl held on to Yura and looked at them cautiously. Suddenly, Dick appeared behind Cheryl. Crack, crack, crack. Dick held an electric baton and hit Cheryl directly on the back. Ah! Cheryl fell to the ground. Little bitch, you cut me with a knife. Dick didn't see what Cheryl had used to attack him, so he naturally thought it was a knife. He used the electric baton to hit Cheryl on the ground again. You bad man. I won't let you hurt Cheryl. Cheryl was completely curled up. Seeing that Dick was going to hurt her, Yura ran over to bite Dick. Crack. Dick slapped Yura, sending her falling to the ground. Act feisty again. Dick kicked Cheryl on the ground. Get up. Hey, get up. Dick, don't kill her. They're worth good money, Campbell said, walking over. Bring them back. A few men tossed Yura and Cheryl into the trunk. In the dark, Yura tugged on Cheryl. Cheryl, how are you? Cheryl was still too young, even though she had werewolf blood. Dick also used a military electric baton with a high voltage. Cheryl was frothing at the mouth and unconscious. After a long while, the car stopped. Cheryl and Yura were dragged out of the trunk. This was an abandoned factory. A dozen guys stared with bad intentions at the girls on the ground. Let's have some fun first. We can still sell them for money later. I want the small one. Dick pointed at Cheryl. That little bitch hurt me earlier. I want to play her. Go away. You can't touch Cheryl. Fuck off. Dick pushed Yura aside to grab Cheryl. Russell. The factory's main door was pulled open just then. Campbell froze. You guys didn't lock the door. I did. Who came in? Go check, Campbell said. Who cares? We'll see later. Only our people can find this place. Chapter 517 Rage. Chan Zhao strolled in slowly, but his expression was very dark. Kid, you dare to appear before me again? Just great. Kill him. Campbell was both surprised and delighted by Chan Zhao's appearance. He did not expect Chan Zhao to show up again. This time, however, Chan Zhao did not have cops to help him, while Campbell had more than a dozen men. Brother. When Yura saw Chan Zhao, she started crying. Who hit your face? Him. Yura pointed at Dick. What happened to Cheryl? He hit her with a stun baton. Yura pointed at Dick again. Dick tapped the baton against his palm. Kid, don't worry. It'll be your turn soon enough. With a ferocious smile, Dick walked toward Chen Zhao and hit him with the baton. Chen Zhao grabbed the stun baton. Fizz. Electric current flowed through Chen Zhao's right arm. Chen Zhao felt tingles, but it was ineffective. In fact, the effect was very weak. Chen Zhao snatched the baton from Dick. Stunned and confused, Dick stared at Chen Zhao. What the? Holding the baton, a smile appeared on Chen Zhao's face. Suddenly, Chen Zhao stabbed the baton into Dick's mouth. Ah! Dick collapsed. Chen Zhao walked up and stuck the baton into his mouth again. Fizz. Everyone smelled burnt flesh, but Chen Zhao did not stop. He continued until the stun baton was out of battery. What are you waiting for? Kill him. Chen Zhao turned around and struck the baton out. The first person who charged over was in close range of the baton. The baton was destroyed together with his chin. Chen Zhao tossed the baton away and punched out. The second person's neck broke. He fell on the ground and never moved again. There was another brave soul. Chen Zhao seized the person and bent his entire body. The V-shaped corpse crashed on the ground. Only then did the rest realize something. He was clearly not here to kill himself. He was a butcher. Dick was electrocuted by a stun baton in his mouth. The second person's chin was broken. The third person's neck was ruptured. And the fourth person was bent in half. Some of the gang had killed people before, but they had never seen such a terrifying sight. Run! It was a poorly structured factory. There was only one exit. Cowbell had chosen this place to be their crime location precisely because it was well hidden. However, the well-hidden location now became a cage for them. Chen Zhao caught them and killed them one by one. Campbell, the last man standing, was eventually caught by Chen Zhao. With a smile on his face, Chen Zhao pulled Campbell to a corner. He did not let Yura see Campbell's death scene, or Yura might have nightmares for the rest of her life. Let me go. Please let me go. I have money. I really have money. Campbell retreated to the corner, trembling wildly. He finally realized that he had summoned nothing but a cutthroat. Ah! Yura could not see Chen Zhao and Campbell, but she could hear them. She knew that Chen Zhao was torturing Campbell. She had seen it before. In fact, she had seen it the first time they met. Yura thought that a demon must be living in Chen Zhao's heart. When the demon was released, he would become horrifying. Chen Zhao tore Campbell's limbs off by force. By then, Campbell had yet to die. Chen Zhao returned to Yura, who avoided his look. He did not speak. Carrying Cheryl in his arms, he left the place. Yura followed him closely. After they exited, Chen Zhao burned the factory down. Are you happy now? You almost got yourself sold, and you made Cheryl so injured. Yura did not reply and only cried alone. As Chen Zhao drove the car, he continued to scold Yura. Cheryl woke up halfway. Only then did Chen Zhao stop the scolding. Chen Zhao was really angry, especially because Cheryl was injured because of Yura. But what could he do? In any case, Yura was still his sister. When they reached the entrance of the hotel, Chen Zhao gave Yura a bottle of ointment. Apply it to your face later. Just then Jerome Yemen blocked the entrance of the hotel. You're not allowed to enter. I'm a guest here. What do you mean? Chen Zhao sat speechless. Some terrorists are going to attack the hotel. The entire place is sealed off. Which department are you from? Show me your documents. Chen Zhao was in a bad mood. Jerome Yemen obviously had no documents. Nevertheless, Chen Zhao was really annoying and Jerome's face also darkened. I said you ain't allowed to enter. Can you not understand? Yellow-skinned monkey. Chen Zhao suddenly grabbed Jerome Yemen's neck. What did you say? Repeat that. Stop. Just then Charlotte appeared. Mr. Chen, put him down. Chen Zhao threw Jerome Yemen on the ground. Jerome stood up at once and was about to take his magical phosphor. Jerome! Charlotte shouted. Are you sure you want to fight now? Charlotte looked at Chan Zhao and warned Mr. Chan, the Evil Spirit Society is about to attack this place. I suggest you hide somewhere else and don't come back tonight. I'm not scared of evil spirits. Chan Zhao was extremely displeased. Get out of the way. I need to rest. Miss Charlotte, why stop a man from killing himself? Jerome Yemen said. Mr. Chan, even if you're not scared of death, you should at least think for these two kids, Charlotte said. I'm not scared. Chun will protect us. Cheryl had already recovered slightly. She had absolute trust in Chan Zhao. For example, Chan Zhao had just appeared in the most dangerous moment to save them. Mr. Chan, it's not going to be a normal supernatural event, like the ones you've encountered before, Charlotte still said patiently. Last night, an important member of the Evil Spirit Society died in Omen's hotel. Their leader had already sent everyone out, and they're going to slaughter all the humans in the hotel. The Evil Spirit Society is a very powerful clan made up of purely evil spirits. Last night? I think I killed 2 evil spirits that were attached to humans, Chan Zhao said casually. You're the cause of all this? Miss Charlotte, did you hear that? What? Any problems with that? You're doomed. Grandfather, the leader of the Evil Spirit Society, will definitely not let you off. What an irritating fly. Can I kill him now? Oh. Chapter 518 Evil Spirit Attack. Chun Zhao wouldn't actually kill Jerome Yemen just because he was annoying. So annoying. We're going to our rooms. Charlotte looked at Chun Zhao's backside. The death on him was even stronger. He would die here, right? Charlotte shook her head. She wouldn't waste her time on people who refused to listen. As a spiritualist and witch, she'd seen many people who didn't believe in her. These people usually didn't meet a good end. It was unfortunate that the 2 girls would die with him. Jerome also looked at Chan Zhao's back. A shadow flashed past his eyes. As soon as they entered the elevator, Chan Zhao started berating Yura and Cheryl. He kept repeating the same things, so Yura and Cheryl already started spacing off amidst Chan Zhao's nagging. He was honestly too annoying. If he could insult them in unique ways, they would probably reflect on themselves and feel bad. Suddenly the elevator shook. The lights flashed on and off a few times. Chun Zhao raised his head. An evil spirit's head popped out of the top of the elevator. Chun Zhao got on his toes. He jumped lightly and grabbed the evil spirit. Ever since he learned spells from the Qingyi sect, Chun Zhao became very skilled at dealing with these regular evil spirits. Brother, what's that in your hand? Yura asked. It looks like a hazy ball. Chun Zhao's eyebrow twitched. Cheryl had werewolf blood so she could see souls. But Yura shouldn't see them, right? After all, only those who'd gone through life and death trials were able to be spiritualists, right? You can see it. Is that a spirit? Yura asked. Chan Zhao wondered if it was because Yura got his bone marrow. Chan Zhao squeezed the evil spirit and it let out a pained cry. Can you hear it? Yura shook her head. No. Was it because it wasn't complete? Whatever. Chun Zhao wasn't an expert either. Why was he thinking so much about it? Chun Zhao crushed the evil spirit in his hands. It was probably from the Evil Spirit Society. Blackie collected the soul fragments. Sleep in my room tonight, Chun Zhao said. He would be worried if they stayed in the same room. After leaving the elevator, they saw Margaret open her door. She seemed to be in a bad condition and smelled heavily of alcohol. Damn it, she swore out loud. Why isn't there a single worker? What kind of shit hotel is this? Seeing Chan Zhao walk over, her expression grew unfriendlier. Hi, Margaret. Margaret didn't like Chun Zhao at all. She turned and closed the door. Knock knock. Shit, who is it now? Margaret opened her door again, but there was no one there. The lights in the hallway flickered. Margaret thought that she'd heard incorrectly. Suddenly, she felt something touching her thigh. But there was nothing there. When she turned, she felt a hand squeeze her chest. Margaret shuddered. Her mind cleared instantly. Ah, ghost. A ghost. Margaret tore out of the room and pounded on Chan Zhao's door across the hall. Just then the unseen hand appeared again, squeezing her butt. Ah, open up, open up. Chun Zhao opened the door. He looked at Margaret, who was screaming outside. Margaret, can I help you? Ghost, ghost. Chun Zhao looked behind Margaret. He saw a perverted ghost harassing her. Come in. Chun Zhao pulled Margaret in. Margaret saw Chun Zhao pick up his leg and kick the air before closing the door. She was very nervous right now. She looked at Chun Zhao. Mr. A, I apologize for my offense earlier. It's okay. Chun Zhao shrugged. She hadn't done anything other than thinking he was crazy. Chun Zhao didn't mind. Really? You can see some things. Margaret gulped. She looked really nervous. Her entire body was tense. She was seriously scared. She thought back to how Chun Zhao spoke to the air on the plane. Perhaps there really had been a person that she couldn't see. Chun Zhao wasn't really delusional or crazy. He could see things that regular people couldn't see. Margaret entered the room and saw that Yura and Cheryl were there too. They were watching TV while eating dinner. Sit anywhere. Want something to drink? Give me a glass of water. I feel like I'm not thinking straight. Margaret sat in fear. The TV screen suddenly turned to static. Then a face was pushed out as if the screen was liquid. Ah! Brother! Yura called. Come. There's another head. Chun Zhao walked out with a cup of water. He glanced at the face in the TV. With a thud he smashed the TV. Brother, are we going to be annoyed by these ghosts all night? Chun Zhao was helpless too. He shrugged. If I knew it'll be like this, we should have stayed outside. I have a headache. Brother, look outside. Yura pointed at the window. Ah! Margaret was scared again. There was a person pressed onto the glass. This person wore a suit, but his skin had unnatural black lines on it. His eyes were also all white. Black liquid came out of his mouth. He was pounding on the window glass with his head. Blackie, what's that? Chun Zhao asked. That's not a spirit, right? It's a person possessed by a filth spirit. What's a filth spirit? It's when an evil spirit stays in the human world for too long. Their consciousness is completely destroyed. Then someone collects them. When there are enough collected, they'll be like liquid. When a living being touches them, they would invade the flesh body. What you see coming out of his mouth are filth spirits. Sounds disgusting. Can you take care of it? I can't, Blackie said. Only you can. Seeing that Chun Zhao was talking to someone, Margaret suddenly shivered. Mr. Chun, is there something next to you? I'm practicing my lines. Margaret pretended ignorance, but she knew by now. Now there were more and more filth spirits crawling on the glass. It really looked disgusting. Brother, think of something. Yura felt her scalp go numb too. They were eating dinner, but these distorted guys were making a scene across the glass. Chapter 519 Intense Battle, and Chun Zhao's Unexpected Entrance. Crash. Thud, thud, thud. One by one, corpses fell from the sky, together with many broken glass shards. The members of the Witch Society and the Sorcerer Society, who were preparing for battle, lifted their heads. Charlotte walked up and inspected the corpses. After the corpses landed on the ground, black liquid began to seep out from them. The liquid spread toward Charlotte's feet, as if it was alive. Charlotte raised her hand and sprinkled the liquid with a handful of magical phosphor, evaporating the liquid at once. Shit! They're attacking from the hotel's sewers. Charlotte suddenly realized something. Just then someone shouted, "Look! The ceiling!" Like what Charlotte was worried about, the filth spirits of the Evil Spirit Society had long infiltrated the hotel via the sewers. The witches and wizards saw a dozen filth spirits crawling on the ceiling of the lobby. Unknowingly, Omen's hotel had already been occupied by the Evil Spirit Society. They were actually still defending the exterior when the hotel itself had been taken. We've lost the hotel. Let's leave now. Jerome Yemen shouted. He had no desire to fight. He was about to run when a huge figure suddenly appeared before him. The grandfather. Gloom and terror were emanating from him. Behind him, there was an evil spirit army with hundreds of members, both on the ground and in the air. They literally covered most of the sky. Jerome's legs trembled in fear. He had heard about how horrifying the grandfather was. This was their first face-to-face encounter. His head only reached the grandfather's waist. The grandfather opened his giant mouth and licked his lips. "Are you here to be my snack?" I'm here to tell you that. I know who killed Adelway." "Oh." The grandfather reached out and grabbed Jerome Yemen. "Bring me there." Jerome peed his pants and had no choice but to be obedient. The grandfather pointed at the hotel. "The war begins now." Countless evil spirits surged toward the hotel and collided with the Witch Society and the Sorcerer Society. Immediately, various colorful spells and occasional explosions filled the area. The grandfather walked toward the hotel as if there was no one around. Ordinary witches and wizards clearly did not dare to go near him, not to mention stop him. In New York's supernatural world, the grandfather was like the underground lord. Nobody dared to take him on, and the grandfather had never lost a fight. But there were always exceptions. An old figure stood in the grandfather's way. It was the mage of the Witch Society. When the grandfather saw her, he grinned. "Girl, what was the last time we met? Look at how old you are. After you die, I'll make sure you have a place in the Evil Spirit Society." Ha ha. The grandfather laughed wildly. Nevertheless, he was indeed in the position to call the mage a girl. He had even watched her grow up. "Move way. You're no match for me. I don't want to kill you. You'll be an important subordinate after all," the grandfather said as though he had won. The mage did not speak. Instead, she struck her walking stick hard on the ground. Immediately, many vines emerged from the marble ground and spread toward the grandfather. The grandfather did not dodge and allowed the vines to bind him. Just when the other thought that the grandfather was not that powerful after all, he suddenly struggled and the vines were smashed. "Haha, weak and useless. You didn't improve much since 30 years ago." The grandfather laughed wildly. With absolute power, he could indeed mock others. The mage held her walking stick tightly with a serious look on her face. "Weak." A large cloud of black gas flew toward the grandfather. Just then, a skull appeared from underneath the grandfather's robe and sucked the black gas in. In no time, the skull turned black, fell onto the ground and shattered. The grandfather casually lifted his robe and showed his true body. His entire body was built from countless skulls. The densely packed skulls would definitely kill any trypophobic person immediately. "If you want to attack me with spells, you better prepare hundreds of them. My substitutes can block countless spells for me." Suddenly, 3 witches standing at the side jointly summoned a dark, fierce gust of wind which swept toward the grandfather. Turning his head, the grandfather charged into the roaring whirlwind with his giant body. Whoosh! The wild wind was dissipated at once, but the grandfather did not stop and continued forward. "Shit, dodge," the mage shouted. But it was too late. The grandfather collided into the first witch. Immediately, the witch disintegrated, as if she had been hit by a truck traveling at 120 kilometers per hour. During the entire process, Jerome Yemen was being held in the grandfather's hand. He finally saw for himself how awfully powerful the underground lord was. He was simply an invincible monster. Dark swamp. Charlotte immediately cast a spell at the grandfather. The ground below the grandfather became a black swamp. He began to sink downward. However, the mage did not seem happy at all. "Charlotte, stand back. You shouldn't participate in this." However, it was again too late. The grandfather's body suddenly seemed to become lighter, and he floated out of the swamp. "Did you forget that I'm a spirit?" The grandfather reached Charlotte with just one step. He lifted his hand to slap her. Charlotte was so frightened at the moment that she could barely move. She knew that the grandfather was powerful, but she did not know that he was this powerful. She was an elite in the Witch Society. But before the grandfather, she was powerless. Suddenly everyone heard a thud. Something fell onto the grandfather's head. The grandfather stopped his attack. He touched his head and realized that it was a filth spirit. The grandfather opened his mouth and stuffed the spirit in directly. Then he chewed for 2 seconds. Some black liquid flowed out from the corners of his mouth. Everyone around was totally disgusted. Being too close to the grandfather, Charlotte felt almost engulfed by his terrifying pressure. The grandfather lifted his hand again, but another filth spirit dropped down. It fell square onto his head. The grandfather was enraged at once. He grabbed the spirit, chewed it in his mouth, and spit it at the hotel. Charlotte saw an explosion somewhere above the 10th floor. Then someone fell down from the hotel. Splash! The person dropped into the swimming pool. When Charlotte saw the person, she was stunned. Mr. Chun. Fuck. Chun Zhao stood up from the swimming pool. Which asshole was that? You almost killed me. He had fallen from such a great height. If he did not fall into the swimming pool, he might have actually died. Chapter 520. Want a picture? It's him. It's him. Jerome Yemen pointed at Chun Zhao, who was climbing out of the pool. He's the one who killed Adawei. Roar. The grandfather let out a huge roar. He threw Jerome aside and rushed toward Chun Zhao. Careful. Charlotte knew how terrifying the grandfather was. Right now the grandfather was charging at Chun Zhao. Charlotte was worried, but she couldn't do anything. So it seemed that he would die here. No one had much hope that Chun Zhao could survive. That monster was the underground king of New York City. Seeing the grandfather rush over, Chun Zhao raised his right arm and swung down. Boom! The big and small fists clashed. Chun Zhao took 2 steps back. The grandfather's right arm shattered. Everyone stared at Chun Zhao in disbelief. Not dead. That guy didn't die. He took one of the grandfather's hits. Not only that, he also shattered the grandfather's right arm. Is he a monster too? The grandfather was shocked too. He'd never met anyone who could take one of his punches. No wonder you could kill Adawei. The grandfather stared at Chun Zhao menacingly. His right arm grew back. The soul fragments that had been shattered returned to his body. The injuries meant nothing to him. Mr. Chun, you're not his match, Charlotte reminded. He's the leader of the Evil Spirit Society. I thought the Evil Spirit Society was something impressive, but you end up having this brute as the leader. Chun Zhao's words were the stalk of hay that broke the grandfather's back. Adai, I'm going to kill you. No one had ever dared to say such ridiculous words to him. The grandfather raised his fist again. This punch contained all his hatred and fury. Charlotte felt that even the air had turned vicious. The mage looked at the grandfather from before. She'd never seen him like this, so angry and furious. This strength was completely above a mortal, right? Chun Zhao was face to face with the grandfather. He could feel how terrifying that fist was. He took a deep breath. His clenched fist cracked and popped. Chun Zhao stepped forward and his right arm started enlarging. Gasp! Charlotte inhaled sharply. What kind of spell is that? Chun Zhao's right arm was now as large as the grandfather's arm. It also shone with metallic light. The 2 monstrous fists crashed once again. An explosion sounded in the air. Everyone nearby covered their ears. The grandfather's right side shattered instantly. Everyone stared at Chun Zhao incredulously. He was terrifying. The mage was especially shocked. It wasn't her first time against the grandfather and she'd experienced how horrifying he was. But today the grandfather had actually lost to someone in terms of strength. You're so weak, Chun Zhao said provocatively. That's all you got. The grandfather bared his teeth at Chun Zhao. You want to see my true power? He asked with a deep growl. Sure. You won't be all talk and no action, right? Okay. You want to see my true power? Then I'll make it easy for you. The grandfather opened his mouth at the sky. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. A very obvious air current was produced in the surroundings. An evil spirit who was fighting with a witch nearby was sucked uncontrollably into the grandfather's mouth. The evil spirit wailed, but his wails didn't get him the grandfather's sympathy. Next, another evil spirit, a third. A fourth. More and more evil spirits were sucked into the grandfather's mouth. His body started expanding. In an instant, the grandfather was twice as big. This wasn't his limit. He was still wildly swallowing the nearby evil spirits. The mage's expression changed drastically. "Stop him! Hurry and stop him!" As she spoke, the mage cast a spell at the grandfather. The other witches also started casting spells to stop the grandfather from swallowing more evil spirits. But before the spells reached him, they distorted. Next, the spells were also sucked into the grandfather's mouth. The attacks by the witches and wizards didn't stop the grandfather. Instead, they provided him with more power. The grandfather's body grew bigger and bigger. He was already more than 5 meters tall, but this wasn't his limit. The bigger he was, the stronger his absorption. The filth spirits in the hotel were also affected. They started pouring out of the mouths of their hosts and surging toward the grandfather from all directions. "Mr. Chun, only you can stop him now. Hurry and stop him. We can't let him keep swallowing them." Seeing that her companions were powerless, Charlotte could only look to Chan Zhao. Chan Zhao glanced at the grandfather before him. "Don't you think he looks really cool now? I want to see how big he can get." "Are you crazy?" Charlotte yelled. "Do you even know what you're doing? Stop him while there's still a chance." The mage also spoke up. "Who has a phone? Lend it to me. I want to take a selfie with him." "Can you not kid around?" "No, I'm serious. I really want to take a picture to remember this." Chun Zhao looked at Charlotte with a serious and genuine expression. Hundreds of evil spirits and a large number of filth spirits were gathered. These distorted souls made the grandfather's body expand to 10 times the original size. The bloated 10-meter-tall body shook the ground. "Are you satisfied with how I am now?" The grandfather looked down at Chan Zhao. He was already imagining how he would torment Chan Zhao. The mage's expression was very uncomfortable. She'd never seen the grandfather use this tactic before. Never. Evil spirits could swallow each other. But there was a limit to that. Usually, an evil spirit would be at its limit after swallowing 3 or 4 of their own kind. However, the grandfather seemed not to have a limit. He'd swallowed so many evil spirits. He was undefeatable now, right? Even that man wouldn't be able to defeat such a monster. "I'm satisfied, but can I get a picture with you? Do I seem easy to fool?" The grandfather's expression was a bit twisted. Even he was uncomfortable at containing so many evil spirits at once. He didn't want to drag this out anymore. He raised his right arm. "Come. Use the power that you're so proud of to fight with me." I feel so ashamed now." Chun Zhao shrugged helplessly. "It's useless even if you surrender now. You killed Adalwei. You must die." "I didn't surrender. Where did you see me surrender?" "So, you still want to struggle? It's really tiring looking up at you like this. Will you take a picture with me or not? Go die." Chapter 521 Say Cheese. The grandfather already stepped toward Chan Zhao. Charlotte and the mage both looked desperate. It was a monster that no human could deal with. Nobody could save that man. "Blackie, if you still won't attack, I'll really die." Just when everyone thought that Chan Zhao was dead for sure, suddenly, the grandfather's legs were severed without warning. It was as if they had been sliced off neatly by something sharp. What? Just then, a similar wound appeared from his left shoulder to his right belly. Everyone widened their eyes in disbelief. What? Charlotte and the mage did not understand what was happening, and neither did the grandfather. The grandfather looked at his disintegrating body in confusion. The next instant he felt his body spin. To be precise, his head was spinning. The grandfather's head dropped in front of Chan Zhao. Nevertheless, his head alone was about as tall as Chan Zhao. "Say cheese." Chen Zhao took out a phone from nowhere. Snap! Everyone was speechless, while the grandfather was horrified. His enormous body had been continuously cut apart by a mysterious force. The detached parts would then vanish. Chen Zhao patted the grandfather's head. Any last words? Don't kill me. Oh, no last words. Farewell. Chen Zhao's mouth of glutton opened and ate half of the grandfather's head in one bite. Charlotte and the mage were astonished. That swallow all, right? Yes. I thought the 7 Demon King's spells were long lost. What's the spell that cut the grandfather into pieces? I don't know. That man is too powerful, the mage said with a serious expression. The mouth of glutton could now easily swallow the grandfather's head, although Chen Zhao felt rather full. Nonetheless, he realized that there was a foreign object in the mouth. Soon the mouth spit something out. It was a key. What's this? Chen Zhao was baffled. Was there even a thing that the mouth of glutton could not digest? Forget it. I'll keep it for now. Mr. Chen, thank you so much. Without you, I don't even know how badly this will end. Charlotte approached Chen Zhao. She realized that Chen Zhao was covered in mystery. The power Chen Zhao had displayed was simply astounding. It was incredible. The grandfather, whom she thought was nearly invincible, was actually bullied and killed so easily. Even after the grandfather had used his trump card, he was still overpowered. In fact, the grandfather probably did not even know how he had lost. The onlookers were more clueless. Nevertheless, they knew one thing for sure. This man was extremely powerful. Just then Yura, Cheryl and Margaret ran over. Yura leaped in Chen Zhao's arms. Brother, are you all right? I was so worried. Sure enough, a younger sister's value was obvious only at this moment. No matter how dangerous the situation had been, Chen Zhao would be healed by Yura's concern. Of course, Chen Zhao had done nothing much. He was not injured at all. After swallowing the grandfather's head, he was actually more energetic. Mr. Chen, you fell from the room. Are you really fine? Margaret was still in shock. At first, Chen Zhao had been killing the monsters on the windows, but then the edge of the room suddenly exploded. Chen Zhao fell down from the hole. The 3 ladies in the room were all startled. I fell into the swimming pool. I'm fine. Chen, there are so many corpses in the hotel, Cheryl said. None of our business, Chen Zhao said. They'll surely take care of that. Then now what? Find a place to sleep. Mr. Chen, if you don't mind, you can go to my place, the mage invited. Air. I also own a hotel, the mage said. Oh, all right. But wait first, our luggage is still inside. I'll have someone bring them to you. Okay. Thank you. Oh. When Chen Zhao brought the 3 to the so-called hotel, they were very surprised. It was not really a high-rise hotel, but rather a seaside villa area, or a high-class self-service hotel. It was like the agritainment houses in China, but much more superior. There was no indoor service in such a hotel. Usually, there would be upscale living facilities, but the guests had to do everything else themselves. Before Chen Zhao came here, he had read about these high-end self-service hotels. A normal villa hotel cost about $4,000 per night. Chen Zhao was quite rich, but he was not going to spend his money like this. Even the luxury suites in Omen's hotel only cost $2,000 per night. Of course, he would not mind if someone was paying for him. Chen Zhao did not expect that old woman to be so rich. Margaret used this opportunity to enjoy herself. Chen Zhao did not chase her out. She had been very shocked by the incident, which had also overturned her previous world view. Now, she finally understood that there were really things in the world that could not be explained by science. Having defeated the grandfather, Chen Zhao was in a pleasant mood. He received another large chunk of perfect crystal, even bigger than the one he got when he had defeated Evangeline. Whether it was the demonic crystal or the angelic crystal, the bigger they were, the more valuable. When a piece of demonic crystal or angelic crystal reached a certain size, they could be considered as a perfect crystal. The one Chen Zhao had received was even bigger than a normal perfect crystal. Chen Zhao had no idea what to call it. That time, Chan Zhao had eliminated hundreds of evil spirits in Beverly Hills, but he did not receive any perfect crystal. But when he eradicated monsters like Evangeline or the grandfather, he would receive such huge pieces of perfect crystals, or maybe they were even better than perfect crystals. Actually, Blackie had a big gain too. The grandfather had assembled hundreds of evil spirits, and some soul elements had formed. Chan Zhao did not know what they were, but Blackie told him that they were very valuable. The next morning, Chan Zhao received a call from Hill Nance. "Mr. Chun, where are you now? Are you okay? I heard that the hotel was attacked by terrorists. Yesterday I was forced to leave and I couldn't find you. I still can't go back to the hotel now. How about you?" "Oh, I'm fine." Chun Zhao was somewhat touched that Hill Nance was the first person to ask about his safety. Hill Nance was a good person, but Chun Zhao did not like his overpassionate attitude. As expected, Hill Nance said immediately, "The seminar is cancelled." "What a pity. Mr. Chun, when will you be free? We can have a separate discussion." "Oh." Chapter 522 Pull Close. It was such a good day. Even better news was that the conference was cancelled. Chun Zhao didn't have to worry about Cheryl and Yura letting loose either. The house that Chun Zhao stayed in opened up to the sea and the weather was great. Cheryl and Yura were playing crazily by the sea. Margaret walked over to Chun Zhao. "Mr. Chun." "Miss Margaret. Please sit." "Mr. Chun, I would like to know about people like you. Actually, I'm an amateur. My main profession is a doctor and only a spiritualist after that. At most, I'm just a fighter. As for skills in spiritology, I'm not as skilled as the professionals. If you want to know about those things, I suggest you find a professional spiritualist. If you can't find any, I can recommend you one. She's definitely professional and not very expensive." "You weren't reciting a script on the plane that day, right? You were talking to some person, right?" "Yes." "Then Louis Clallam's sickness. His situation is special, but it's not part of psychology." Margaret's emotions had recovered now. She didn't like Chun Zhao before because she thought that he was useless. Now it seemed that she was the useless one. So she was much more modest now. "Knock knock." There were knocks on the door. Chun Zhao ran over to open it. The mage stood outside with a slight smile. "Mr. Chun." "Hello, Miss Mage. You can call me Catherine," the mage said with a smile. Catherine was in a very good mood. The grandfather had terrorized New York City for 200 years. Catherine's ancestors had already been fighting with him. Now this threat was finally eradicated. One could imagine how relaxed Catherine felt. Not only was the grandfather killed, even the Evil Spirit Society was close to being wiped out. There were a few small figures left, but they were like street rats now. Currently, the Witch Society and Sorcerer Society were hurrying with eradicating the Evil Spirit Society. "Mr. Chun, I am inviting you to join the Witch Society." "Ah, wait. Even if I join something, it should be the Sorcerer Society, right? The Witch Society. Are you sure that's okay?" "Of course," Catherine said matter-of-factly. Just then, an old man with long whiskers and shiny hair pushed the door open and walked in. "What do you mean, of course? I think Mr. Chun should join the Sorcerer Society instead." This man was the leader of the Sorcerer Society. It was clear that he'd come to steal Chun Zhao. The Sorcerer Society as a whole was weaker than the Witch Society. After all, each member of the latter had certain combat abilities. The Sorcerer Society had more people and they seemed to have abilities too. But they couldn't be compared to the Witch Society. The Witch Society was a bit weaker than the Evil Spirit Society when the grandfather had still been there. However, it wasn't because they were weak but because the grandfather was too strong. The Witch Society was the strongest of the three in other aspects. Now that the Evil Spirit Society was taken out, the Witch Society still wasn't satisfied. They wanted to pull Chun Zhao in too. Everyone was clear about Chun Zhao's abilities. But because he was a male, it was obvious that it wasn't suitable for him to join the Witch Society. To the leader of the Sorcerer Society, he thought that Chun Zhao should join his group. That way things could be equal. Plus Chen Zhao was clearly a wizard. He should join the Sorcerer Society even more. The Sorcerer Society's leader was even more in need than Catherine. The Sorcerer and Witch Societies weren't enemies, but they still had conflicts of interest. For example, if they both had their eyes on some distinguished figure and wanted them to become sponsors, then the force would have to show off their abilities. After all, abilities were the easiest way to impress a regular person. Oh. If Chen Zhao was there, they could confidently say that the strongest wizard of New York City was in the Sorcerer Society. Actually, I don't plan on joining either of you. Plus, I'm not a spiritualist of New York City either. It's okay if you're not in New York, the Sorcerer Society's leader said seriously. Actually, we plan on expanding too, like opening up a branch in LA. For example. After a night of research, the Sorcerer Society's leader already knew about Chen Zhao's surface identity. He even knew Chen Zhao's second identity as an illegal doctor. Oh right. We have members in LA, too. They're quite famous too. For example, XK is a loyal member of the Sorcerer Society and a top Hollywood star. Mr. Chen, we also have many female celebrities in the Witch Society. I can introduce you to them. This old grandma and grandpa were as shameless as a pimp. Chen Zhao was speechless. Mr. Chen, take this card. The Sorcerer Society's leader shoved a card into Chen Zhao's hands. Chen Zhao's eyes brightened. He was shoving in money. In this case, he could probably join them in name. There's no money in this card and you can't spend it, but it's actually more useful than Chase's black card. As long as you have any requests, you can call the number on it. There's no problem even if you want to enter the White House and take a piss in the president's office. Hearing that there was no money, Chen Zhao decided that he didn't want it. In the end, he heard that he could go take a piss in the White House. Do you think I'm that bored? Can't you give me something realistic? Mr. Chen, I also have a card. The effect isn't any weaker than his. I don't insist on you becoming an official member. It's just an honorary elder. You won't reject me, right? Catherine looked at Chen Zhao seriously. Also, many girls in the Witch Society hope to discuss magic with you. TSK, she really is a pimp. Chen Zhao was speechless about these two people. Can't you give me some cash? It wasn't realistic at all. They'd been making promises for so long. But he didn't see any true benefits. Let me think about it, Chen Zhao said. How could he know that the Sorcerer Society's leader and Catherine both thought that Chen Zhao had no interest in money? They thought that if they bribed him with money, it would be an insult to him. If Chen Zhao knew what they thought, he would probably scream without regards to his image, "Please insult me." All right then. Mr. Chen, there's a party tonight. Do you have time? The Sorcerer Society's leader was thinking about having some beauties arranged. Sorry, I don't have time. I have to take care of the kids. Mr. Chen, is that child a werewolf? Yes, why? Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes. This old guy wouldn't want to destroy demons, right? Don't misunderstand. The Sorcerer Society also has a werewolf. If you have any needs, I can have him come over and teach her some things. Oh. Chapter 523 Street Rats. Chen Zhao planned to accept all the benefits. As for joining them, he was uninterested. Chen Zhao had a strange feeling that joining the Sorcerer Society, or the Witch Society, was like joining an evil cult. Of course, Sienna was also a witch. Chen Zhao would not discriminate against them. But he knew that if he were to join such an organization, there would be many nuisances for him to handle. For example, the Evil Spirit Society had just popped out of nowhere. And the grandfather, who was really powerful. If Blackie was not beside him, Chen Zhao would have to run away too. Soon Chen Zhao dismissed the leader of the Sorcerer Society and Catherine. The two of them were quite displeased with Chen Zhao's excuses. But what could they do? Only Chen Zhao could make the final decision. How about forcing Chen Zhao? Stop joking. If they teamed up, they could probably defeat Chen Zhao. But their societies would end up like the Evil Spirit Society. Of course, Chen Zhao did not reject them directly. So they still had a chance. Mr. Chun, Cheryl is a werewolf? Margaret had heard their conversation just now. She felt that her worldview had been refreshed once again. She looked at Cheryl, who was enjoying herself on the beach, and really could not connect her to a werewolf. Yes, Changzhou nodded but spoke no more. Some people could accept it, but some people could not. Chun Zhao did not want to discuss too much about it, especially with a stranger. Chun Zhao and Margaret were not that close. Margaret could tell Chun Zhao's attitude from his plain reply, so she did not question. While she was curious, her worldview had already been destroyed last night, after all. She was therefore not as surprised that there was a werewolf. Moreover, Margaret was a psychologist. She was good at reading other people. Moreover, she could tell that there was some distance between her and Chun Zhao. That afternoon she bid Chun Zhao goodbye. Chun Zhao only perfunctorily asked her if she had a place to stay. This was why talking to a smart person was really easy. If a smart person was asked by a stranger if they had eaten, they would certainly not reply, "No, are you going to treat me?" After Margaret left, Chun Zhao took Yura and Cheryl on a wild trip through New York. "Oh, Jean, what do we do? People from the Witch Society and the Sorcerer Society are looking for us like mad dogs. They're planning to kill every last one of us." George and Jean had been rulers in the Evil Spirit Society. However, since the grandfather died, they had become homeless dogs. They had lost all glory. Even the clanless evil spirits wandering outside were ignoring them. Those spirits would even disclose their information to the Sorcerer Society and the Witch Society in exchange for rewards. Actually, the supernatural world was very much like the underworld. The Evil Spirit Society, the Witch Society, and the Sorcerer Society were like three gangs, and they had many supernumerary staff. Of course, most of the supernumerary staff were valueless idlers. For example, an evil spirit might be living in a haunted house. The spirit would only be able to make minor pranks usually. Most evil spirits did not dare to kill people. Just like how there were laws in human society, in the supernatural world, there were also restrictions. If it was just a prank, the Sorcerer Society and the Witch Society would not be bothered. Unless a client paid them for help. In that case, they would expel the evil spirit or ask it to move somewhere else. Or they would make it their guardian spirit. Many evil spirits were actually willing to become the guardian spirit of a spiritualist. At least it would be better than having to move frequently or be homeless. However, if an evil spirit killed someone, it would definitely be wanted and pursued. Alternatively, it could join the Evil Spirit Society. But it was not as good as what most spirits thought. Some happenings in the Evil Spirit Society would even frighten evil spirits. Sometimes, evil spirits might become informants for a particular organization. For example, the Evil Spirit Society had just suddenly collapsed, which had a great impact on New York's supernatural world. Some evil spirits changed immediately and became the two human societies' cat's paws. At the moment, George and Jean were like street rats. They were actually ordinary evil spirits without any special powers. When the Evil Spirit Society was strong, they were able to wear borrowed plumes. That time they were all powerful, but now they had nowhere to hide. How about we leave New York? Let's go to another city. We can build another Evil Spirit Society. We can become as grand as the grandfather. How? Float to another city? If we're still exposed after the sun comes out, we'll be evaporated. We can control a car. No, if the car runs out of gas, what do we do? Then how? Let's find a plane and hide on it, Jean suggested. Good idea. Oh, after 3 days of fun in New York, Chan Zhao and the two girls were finally going to return to LA. Hill Nance, who had come with them, had already returned to LA the day before. Hello, I would like to purchase 3 tickets to LA. For which date? The person asked. The sooner the better. Preferably tomorrow. Sorry, we don't have any tickets to LA these 2 days. Why? It's all sold out. All right. Chun Zhao hung up helpless. It seemed like he had to make a transit flight. It was very troublesome, but he had no choice. Just then Chun Zhao received a call. Hi, Mr. Chun. It's Louis. Hi, Mr. Louis, what's up? I plan to go to LA. When are you going back? I'm taking my private plane. If you don't mind, we can go together. Private plane? Chun Zhao was stunned. I have 3 people in total. Are you sure it'll be convenient for you? Of course, Louis Clallam said. He had been waiting for this opportunity. Actually, he was behind everything when Chun Zhao failed to book the air tickets. With his background, he only had to call the airlines to make some hidden restrictions. When are you going to LA? I'm very free. We can go whenever you want, Louis said. Are you sure? Don't you need to reserve the flight route in advance? Although Chun Zhao was not a pilot, he knew that whether it was a private plane or a commercial plane, they had to apply for a flight route before departure. If they did not, they might receive a missile at any time. Mr. Chun, don't worry about it. I have the money. Oh. Chapter 524 Return. When Chun Zhao brought Yura and Cheryl to the airport, they passed through the security check easily. Then they were led directly to Louis Clallam's private jet. Mr. Chun, what do you think about my plane? Louis showed it off. If you like it, I can gift it to you. Chun Zhao's face darkened. You can give me anything, but what's the point of a plane? I don't know how to fly it. It'll cost more than $200,000 to hire a pilot every year. I'll need to pay $3 million each year to keep the plane at the airport too. Do you think I'm rich or something? This didn't include the maintenance expenses either. Like many said, you could afford to buy a car but not to keep it. Chun Zhao chuckled wryly. I wouldn't be keeping quiet if you aren't inviting me to enjoy a private jet for free. It's not as big as my mom's plane. Yura pursed her lips. Louis Clallam almost spat out his water. And your mom is? She's the boss of Ute Pharmaceuticals. Louis Clallam was taken aback. So it was her. Even though they were from different fields, they were still the same level of wealthiness. No wonder Chun Zhao didn't really care about him. He had a high status too. It seemed that he would have to think of another way to have Chun Zhao help treat him. The plane took off smoothly. It was much more comfortable than typical planes. 2 sexy flight attendants walked past Chun Zhao and Louis every now and then. They were probably trying to remind them of their existence. But from their eyes, Chun Zhao guessed that they'd already done things with Louis. After flying on the plane for an hour, the pilot and co-pilot came out of the cabin. According to pilot regulations, the pilot shouldn't leave the cabin, especially both at the same time. Of course, this was a private jet. It was fine as long as Louis didn't report them. Here, let me introduce you to them. Louis was prepared to introduce the 2 pilots enthusiastically. Suddenly, the older pilot picked up the bottle on the table and smashed it onto Louis's head. Ah, what are you doing? Stan, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Louis yelled angrily while holding his head. The other pilot Locke smiled eerily. This is our plane now. If you want to live, then transfer us $1 million. Otherwise, we'll crash the plane. Chun Zhao, Yura, and Cheryl were all annoyed. They'd run into an accident on the way here too. When they returned on a private jet, they'd still run into an accident. Stan, Locke, do you know what you're doing? Louis stared coldly at the 2. Even if I send you the money, do you think you'll be able to get it? Ha! Whether we can get it or not is our problem. Chun Zhao suddenly rose and kicked Stan. Stan flew back. Then Stan's body on the ground arched up. An evil spirit flew out of his body and pounced toward Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao grabbed the spirit's body and squeezed fiercely. He scattered the evil spirit. What's going on? Louis stared at Chun Zhao in shock. Had something just flown out of Stan's body? A hallucination? No, it wasn't a hallucination. Chun Zhao looked at Locke. Are you coming out by yourself? Or do I have to force you out? Kid, do you know who I am? Locke threatened Chun Zhao. I'm the manager of the Evil Spirit Society, the right-hand man of the grandfather. You're a spiritualist, right? Don't you know what happens if you offend the Evil Spirit Society? Louis listened to Locke saying these weird words, growing more confused. Mr. Chun, what is he talking about? Chun Zhao had a slight smile. But there was something evil in his smile. Does your grandfather still exist? Locke's expression was a bit uncomfortable. He just wanted to scare Chen Zhao. Earlier, he'd thought that Chen Zhao was a wizard and probably not from New York, so he might not know about this matter. Now it seemed that he knew. Do you know who killed the grandfather? Chen Zhao's smile grew brighter. An Asian man. Locke shuddered. When he looked at Chen Zhao again, his expression was one of horror. An Asian man? Wasn't this guy in front of him Asian? Was he the Asian that killed the grandfather? No way. How could he be so unlucky? Sir, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. Locke knelt on the ground in terror and kept bowing. What a joke. This guy could even kill someone as scary as the grandfather. He was only a minor evil spirit. How could he beat this man? He would die. He would get squished to death. Just like Jean, squashed easily by one hand. Mr. Chun, what exactly is wrong with him? Something possessed his body and is controlling him, Chen Zhao said. Their previous attacks and words weren't voluntary. After all, these two pilots were innocent. Chen Zhao could help clear up their name. Otherwise, when Louis tried to take revenge, he could easily ruin their lives. You mean an evil spirit, right? Yes. You're saying that an evil spirit is talking to us now? Louis continued asking. That's right. Can you call him out? I want to see. I've never seen an evil spirit before. Louis was very interested. He wasn't afraid at all and had forgotten that his skull had almost been cracked open. This evil spirit was very frightened of Chen Zhao, so Louis reasonably thought that there wouldn't be any danger. Are you coming out yourself? Chen Zhao asked. Or do you want me to do it? George came out of Locke's body. The next moment, Locke fell unconscious on the ground. Where is he now? Louis asked. Can he show himself? Clunk. A wine glass fell to the ground. Chen Zhao looked at the evil spirit before him. If he tried to do anything harmful, Chen Zhao would crush him instantly. He can't appear? Louis was a bit disappointed. But he was 100% sure that there definitely was an evil spirit. He said that he can appear at night. He can't do it now. At night. Chapter 525 Return Home. Why would you and the other evil spirit be here? We wanted to escape from New York. We were being hunted by the Sorcerer Society and the Witch Society, so... George looked at Chen Zhao. Actually, Chen Zhao was the real culprit. If Chen Zhao did not come here, they would not have become street rats. Of course, George was the only one left now. Jean was crushed by Chen Zhao before he could even speak. Chen Zhao, the man who had eliminated the grandfather, was indeed cruel and terrifying. Why did you ask for $1 million? We wanted to buy a house and live there. We've already pre-ordered it online. How? With these two humans' bodies. The two evil spirits had really brought so much trouble to the two pilots. After the incident, even if Louis decided to let them off, they would probably still lose their jobs. Chen Zhao repeated George's words to Louis. Are you going to kill him? Louis asked. What else? Why would I keep him? Chen Zhao looked at George, who turned around and fled in fear. But Blackie grabbed him at once. Chen Zhao smiled. Although George was an evil spirit, he similarly could not see Blackie. Don't think about escaping. You won't be able to. I want him, Louis suddenly said. Chen Zhao looked at Louis in surprise. You sure? I want to hire him. For what? You know, I have many competitors, Louis said bluntly. Chen Zhao looked at George. What do you think, Mr. Evil Spirit? Yes, I accept that sir's employment. George had no choice at the moment. He would either be hired by Louis or killed by Chen Zhao. Without a doubt, he would rather be employed. But can you communicate with him? Chen Zhao asked. Swish, swish. A crayon wrote down a sentence on the window. Hello, boss. Louis was very pleased. See? Problem solved. Fine, whatever floats your boat. Chun Zhao had no reason to object Louis, given that he was willing. Anyway, when will they wake up? Chun Zhao asked. Dunno. Usually about a day, maybe longer for that person, George replied by writing. He was referring to Stan whom Chun Zhao had kicked. Then do you know how to fly a plane? Chun Zhao asked again. George. Louis Clallam. So we don't have a pilot now, right? Chun Zhao was irritated again. Someone please tell me what to do. Mr. George, you better think of a solution or else. Boss, save me. Chun, don't worry. I know it, although I've only operated a glider before, Louis said. Oh. Chun Zhao swore that he would never ride a plane again. In the end, they still landed safely, but the constant feeling of danger was extremely unpleasant. As Louis operated the plane, he asked the aviation department on the surface about how to fly a plane. Anyway, Chun Zhao had asked Cheryl and Yura to wear parachutes. Had there been an accident, he would have asked them to jump down. Once they landed, Chun Zhao fled from the airport. He hoped that he would never go near a plane again. Fei Lai, I'm back in LA. Darling, anything interesting happened in New York? It was a terrible trip, Chun Zhao said. You encountered something again, right? Nothing much. Just an evil spirit with a group of subordinates. Ha! Where's the evil spirit now? I killed it, of course. I knew it, Fei Lai said, smiling. She had complete trust in Chun Zhao. Wait for me at home. Let's celebrate your safe return. Sure. Chun Zhao stretched himself. He had not touched Fei Lai for days and could not wait to do so. Brother, can you please hold the steering wheel while driving? Don't worry. I have the skills. Not because of that. Look outside the window. Sharon, that stalker policewoman. At the moment, she was on a police motorcycle, signaling Chun Zhao to stop. Helpless, Chun Zhao parked the car at the roadside and opened his arms. Haha. Sharon, what a coincidence. Did you know that I've just returned to LA and come here to welcome me? Sharon blocked Chun Zhao's ill-intentioned hug. Be serious. I suspect you've been driving dangerously. Show me your ID. Please don't. Chun Zhao looked at Sharon with a long face. I'll ask David to swap you to his team. Fuck. Stop talking about this. These two are my sisters. Can you let me have some honor before them? Ladies, please don't learn from this asshole. Remember to obey traffic rules, Sharon said, not giving Chun Zhao any face. Without question, Chun Zhao received another fine ticket. He returned to his car and looked at the two girls. Yura, do you miss mother? You going to chase Cheryl and me away? No, absolutely not. If that's what you're thinking, just say it directly. I'm old enough. I will return to mother and never talk to you again. Chun Zhao's cheeks twitched. Forget it. Pretend that I said nothing. Children of their age would never be tired of playing. However, Chun Zhao would not be able to spend time with Fei Lai. By the time they returned home, it was already evening. Fei Lai had actually gotten home earlier than they did. She prepared dinner to welcome their return. After dinner, Chun Zhao announced, "You can play however you want tonight." Then he pulled Fei Lai into the bedroom and locked the door. Fei Lai, did you miss me? Yes. Fei Lai replied to Chun Zhao enthusiastically. Chun Zhao tore Fei Lai's clothes off and vented all his accumulations over the past few days on her. After a few rounds, the two rested on the balcony, enjoying the night scene. Didn't you get me a present from New York? I have. Chun Zhao really forgot about it. He began frantically searching for ideas. What do I do? Suddenly, Chun Zhao thought about the trophy he had received from the grandfather. That key. Chapter 526. Invisible Key. This key is for you. What? Fei Lai looked at Chun Zhao's palm. What thing? A key. Where? Chun Zhao looked down at his hand. Could Fei Lai not see the key in his palm? Chun, you're not playing with me, are you? Ah. Chen Zhao didn't know how to explain this either. It wasn't like he could tell Fei Lai that the key really did exist even though she couldn't see it. Okay. I forgot to bring a gift. At this point, what else could Chen Zhao say? He would just tell the truth. Then how will you repay me? I won't rest tonight. I don't want you. Don't touch me. Chen Zhao really didn't let Fei Lai rest that night. He didn't stop until 3 or 4 in the morning under Fei Lai's pleading. Actually, Chen Zhao had secretly given Fei Lai some potion to change her fitness. Thus Fei Lai had great fitness too. Even she could feel it. In the morning, Fei Lai went to work in high spirits. Chen Zhao was relaxing again, but Yura and Cheryl started messing around in the morning. One must be impressed by children's energy. Chen Zhao hadn't restricted them last night, so they played until dawn. Today they were still full of energy, like they didn't even know what exhaustion was. Chen Zhao didn't care about them. He ran to the backyard to check on the grapevines. With the inferior demon's care and Eugene's nutrients, the grapevines were growing well. The green vines were already 30 centimeters long and had started climbing up. According to Eugene, Fei Lai only came once in the time that Chen Zhao was gone. Chen Zhao was sure that Fei Lai had already forgotten about them. She really did have a short attention span. Suddenly, Chen Zhao felt that he stepped on something. Looking down. Princess! Chen Zhao's roar echoed throughout Mirror Lake. Master, do not blame Princess, Eugene said. Her feces contains very high nutrients. Okay, keep calm. Keep calm. But when Chen Zhao found Princess, he still yelled at her. Even if you're going to shit outside, don't you know to cover it up? Princess looked pitiful, but Chen Zhao knew that she was just feigning innocence. But seeing how Princess was covering her face, Chen Zhao didn't feel like continuing to yell at her. Human, why didn't you bring me to New York? Samuel yelled unhappily, running over to Chen Zhao. I want to go to New York, I want to go to New York, I want to go to New York. That is a city filled with desire. I'll definitely be able to find more followers there. You know, it's all because of you that I've slowed down my pace of conquering the world. Who let you call me human? Do you want to get hit? Fine, master. Chen Zhao pulled out the key. Do you know this key? What? Samuel cocked his head and looked at Chen Zhao's hand in confusion. Where's the key? Even a demon lord couldn't see the key. Human, don't change the subject. When will you take me to New York? How many followers do you have now? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, let me start over. 1, 2. Talk to me about your world domination plans after you count correctly. I'm busy. A demon lord who'd never taken math class probably didn't even know about addition and subtraction. Wasn't it a joke for him to want to dominate the world with his IQ? Samuel caught up to Chen Zhao. Master, the number isn't important. I've improved recently. Oh, what improvement? I've watched many movies and concluded the reason why villains lose. Tell me. They talk too much. Oh, very concise, but that's not enough. Rolling his eyes, Chen Zhao said, right, I have a question. What? I met a man. Honk honk. Just then a car honked outside the door. Chen Zhao walked over and looked outside. Louis Clallam was poking his head out of the car window. Hi, Mr. Chin. I'm here. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. He had the house system open the garage and let Louis drive up. As soon as Louis parked, a piece of paper flew before Louis. George, boss, let's leave this place. I feel a very terrifying aura here. This is Mr. Chin's home. There are no dangers. George, he's the most dangerous one. All right. You're just biased. Louis took the elevator to the living room. He had a big smile. Mr. Chen, how do you feel? Are you pleasantly surprised at my arrival? Sit. Chen Zhao didn't feel pleasantly surprised. George, hello, Mr. Chin. You don't need paper to talk to me. George, sorry, I'm used to it. Meow. This guy's right arm has a very pure demon aura. Samuel looked at Louis's arm. Just then Louis's right arm started trembling. Mr. Chan. It's starting to move again. Don't worry. It won't dare to move here, Chanzhao said indifferently. Yes, indeed. Louis also felt terror coming from his right arm. It was extremely frightened. It seems to have a fright. Why's that? It's right to be afraid, Chanzhao said. If it was afraid, it meant that Louis's arm had its own mind now. In other words, it was no longer just an arm. It was a demon. Chanzhao glanced at Samuel. Can you tell what's going on? What's so strange about that? Samuel said matter-of-factly. 1,000 years ago, demons from hell appeared in the human world very often. All sorts of demons left things behind in that era. Some demon blood wouldn't mix with human blood. He's clearly a descendant of the type that wouldn't mix. It's already awoken. It should be a phobic demon. Phobic demon. Is that a strong demon? No, it's a really cowardly demon. They're really small, but when they're in danger, they would expand and use that to scare off the enemy. Then how do we get it under control? Or wipe out its consciousness? Cut the arm off, Samuel said. Easy, right? Are there any other solutions? Like some spell that can wipe out someone's consciousness? You think spells like that exist? They do in stories. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.